Test, test, test. Good, good, good. All right. Good morning, everybody. We did not have our nightly video last night, but the gist is pretty simple, right? What do we know? Every single semi reversed. What's that? That's a buy, right? Because inside, two down, they all reverse down. That's a short. Two down, two down, two down. They all reverse back up. That's now a buy. Two. And then today it's going to open as a two, and you're going to be up a ton if you're still in there. So we go to things like CoreWeave, some of our major picks prior to pre-market yesterday, or in pre-market yesterday. It's going to be gapping up. So we want to see, do they come back to buy more in these guys? And we gauge magnitude. We told you yesterday, CoreWeave, we got this 85, right? And we're coming back through all this stuff. So when we look at the semis, the same thing's true, right? We'll see things like CoreWeave, APLD, all this range to come back through. And then if we go to MU, right, you got this nice broadening formation in here to come back through here, up into like $1,000. So as we go back through this, the closer we get to taking out, $1,000, more likely that is to happen. So that the fact that we're gapping up makes it a little closer to doing so. The only thing we got to be aware of is, since we're gapping up, we want to start taking out pivots in the previous range, because if we're going to gap up and go, that's what we want to see. We want to see them get going through here. If we see them gap up and they're red, that might be the weekly seller, that monthly seller coming back. But we will have to find out. Since it's a gap, there's not going to be many signals here on these guys. It's all follow through from things we already knew about yesterday morning, which is good stuff. Now, we can really, go down the list, right? Marvell is going to be gapping up, and AMAT's going to be gapping up, and et cetera, just down the list. You're going to have all the chips going. So it's really your pick on which ones you want to trade. You can be your stock picker. But that will definitely be a focus this morning. Good stuff. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, and we'll take a look at what you guys have in the chat before I do any scanning myself. We only got about 5 minutes prior to the market open. We'll take a peek. FTNT, the 322. Yeah, so if you have the whole market gapping up and this takes out that, 152.23, that could cause some issues for them. It's already a 3 on the week, so you already did what you're supposed to do. And that would occur with full time frame continuity if they were going to take them down below that, magnitude to 143 this morning. All right. So we'll take a peek at what I've got on my list. So we got crowd here. And what we want is stuff that's taking out the Monday morning highs. Because anyone short early in the week gets to stay short, right? But if you're above the opening price of the week, anyone short this week's got to cover. So that's what we're going to look for today. And you want signals to cause that. So things like crowd, you got inside day. If they're going to pick up, right, you have pivot. This would speed it up into like 193, and then maybe you're blowing out all the shorts up into 208 if things really kick in today. And we have a lot of twos, so we'll see. In the chips, we'll have KLAC, which is inside day. So it wasn't quite as strong yesterday, but if the chips are going to follow through, this should take this and this and this out short term up into 196. And then we'll see Apple gapping on the gappers list. So that's something we can definitely keep in mind today. Now, when you look at Apple, you'll see in the broadening formation where they opening. Pretty much right in the middle of this big one here. So we're nowhere near taking these guys out. Nowhere near taking out anyone that was short against this stuff into earnings. So, right, we'll have to see. It'll be up to those daily guys. And I imagine you get a broadening formation in there. Don't be surprised. Amazon, will take a peek. But, and then lastly on my list, I've got Chewy here. You got the momentum hammer, and this would be good for small account guys who have 2288. Ideally, we focus on those chips just because they're a little bit higher volatility, but That could definitely kick in, and you could be looking at those 23 calls, the nearer the monies, or maybe 23 and a half if they have them. That'd be an option above this 22.88, and it should just go if that's right, because it'd be triggering as 2, 2, 2, which is momentum. Triangle they out. And we have Visa, which is opening 3-1 days, so we'll see if they're able to get out of that or not. With your MasterCard, which is already gunning, right? You can see buy, 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 gap down, buy, buy. And for those of you guys that were with us last Friday, right, did we not tell you to buy MasterCard above 530.88? All right, 530.80, right? I think we did. And they've just been buying it ever since. This is what you're looking for, right? Nice broad information you got there, MasterCard. And if we go to IBM from last week, Friday, for those tuning in, that was also a pretty good one, wasn't it? 2, penny lower, boom, takes them out. There's your broad information. All these guys taken out. Isn't that nice? So before I spend any time, we got 3 minutes here. Going to make sure we've got this going. And if we want to, what we can do is look at some of the pre-market stuff. Yeah, Meta's going to have this big daily broad information. That's interesting. Let me remove these indicators here. See what we can do. Because pre-market, sometimes you'll have like hidden signals in there, stuff that you might want to know about. So we look at the semis, right? You have the 2260. It looks like it's already taken off a little bit. 30 is already taken off a bit. See if we can apply that to all. Beautiful. So core weave, right? Let's see. Potential 2230 back down. So they might take them back through all these guys, stopping them out. Meta also has the potential shooter 30. We'll take a look at SPY this morning. So you'll see SPY get the nice broadening information in here. Beautiful. Went right to the bottom and then right here. Right back through. Let's see. AMD. Yeah, so it looks like the semis are kind of just jamming the highs pre-market, and this is what you want to see, right? You bought it yesterday. They're still going today. Huge winner, right? Huge win. And if you're not holding from yesterday, that's okay, but ideally you do. And the reason you would is because of what we know to be true, which is the last thing we'll take a look at, pre-market. So what do we know to be true? Well, yesterday, if we let this load in, we've got just under a minute, so hopefully we can get this quickly. But yesterday, you're going to see semis. 9 out of 10 were enforced, 10 out of 10 in here WGMI, and then 10 in bots. So what did they do? Right, they reversed everything in the semis. Now we had some inside days here, so these will be important for today if they're going to keep following through, and that could be your focus if you just want to trade semis. Here's all your inside days. That'd be a good focus. But you can see they reversed all these guys, so you pretty much had everything going. And here's the market opening up. So we'll see SPY inside day signal up. So it's trying to go back through this previous range. If that daily open holds today, that'd be what we're looking for. Semis gapping up. Anyone short against this stuff. These are the guys you'd want to be trying to take out today. Now, it's going to be trickier to buy right at the open, but you'll see core weave. We will see Meta goes 2-2 reversal from the bottom of the broadening formation. We'll see AMD is following through, trying to go to all-time highs. SWKS, Cuervo, gap up sell, potentially RevStrat days this morning to go outside back to the downside. And Amazon, this is what you'd see here. You already got the triangle drawn out. Down, gap them up. Now, all these guys who are short in here, they might have some issues, but they'd be gapping right into the top of the short-term daily triangle. but maybe up there, right? 278, take all those guys out. For now, that'd be gap up sell. Right away, Meta is starting to get moving to start the morning on the 2-2 day from the bottom of the triangle. Crowd off the inside day signal is taking them out. Pivot, 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 pivot. And notice the week. Anyone short this week, crowd, they got to cover, right? That's causing some issues there. SPY is also coming up into its nearby pivots, so it triggers these guys. 77, 45, 40, or 53. Meta on the 2-2 day getting really green to start the morning. So there's definitely a big buyer in there confirming our gap down buy from the bottom of the broadening formation in this. That's something you want to know about because 700 is way up there. And that's where they'd be trying to go. Buys Ripper, you'll see it's taken out the weekly open. Anyone short this week, they're going here, 750.02. So you got a lot of distance there to take out on the SPY. And if that works, what it does is it sets up for next month the inside month, right? So you always want to think, since we're coming towards the end of the month, what's it trying to set up? Now, the only thing is, since we have this daily short-term exhaustion risk, we'd prefer to stop some guys out first and then try and go after it. We don't have to be the first one in, first one gets stopped out. Chewy, you might get the 225er to cause the hammer day signal for the smaller account guys. 30 seconds. SPY's going to go out at the highs on the fiver, so they're just buying. They don't care. And anyone that was shorting the SPY, right, that's them trying to buy it and get out of that thing with anyone buying, the gap up. Crowd stops some guys out. It's going momentum on the oneers. We got the new fivers in about 4 seconds. Second fivers of the day open up. Wow, man, we're going to have so many rev strats for next week. Core Weave Weekly. Just looks amazing. Crowd goes 2 up fivers. Which reconfirms the daily. SPY's inside fiver green, so it's right up the highs still. And then Chewy is close to taking that fiver up. It does not. You can see it comes back in. So no reversal Chewy. And obviously it's not part of the theme with the semis, but still looks good if we can take that out. SPY trying to go oneers inside up to confirm the fivers and follow through with that weekly. Again, we'd still want to see them triangle out, even if it's just the morning low. Just hit that first. I want to stop some guys out, and I'll be back in just like 30 seconds. 1 sec. Chewy does take the fivers up. And you'll see Corey've taken the fivers down. Chewy options are pretty illiquid, so I'm not going to touch them. You'll see AMD, right? Starting to stop guys out. SPY starting to stop some guys out. So you got probably a RevStrat oneer. No, inside oneer, down, two down, two down, two down. So we're just going to take these guys out. You can see Chewy is starting to explode here and take out yesterday's highs. So, you know, if you're willing to trade those spreads, go for it. It's not looking the best here on my side. But you can see he's starting to stop some guys out. Chewy, there it is. Takes out the daily hammer. Magnitude 2360. You see SPY, so they take them out. That's that daily short-term exhaustion risk, and then they start coming back. So we're going to stop out all those guys. Now, we do have the inside day yesterday, so that green to red move, you could try and hit the bid there. Maybe that drops back in, but we'll have to see. Crowd is still holding firm for now. I want to see what MU and SNDK are doing. MU's gap up sell to start the day. SNDK is gap up sell to start the day on the fivers. Semis is gap up and fivers down as well. And here's the second tenors of the day. SPY goes shooter tenors down. But that could be our triangle day out as well. So we'll see. Because what we want to do is go in the direction of the bigger groups. Now, if we look at SPY on the weekly, right, went back to slightly red. So technically that weekly seller is still present as far as we know with that tenor if you're below 744.15. AMD goes tenors 2-2 down. Second tenor of the day with the SPY. With the semis, also tenors down with SNDK and MU. So there is just a little bit of selling on that second tenor of the day. We'll see what comes of that. You still see them selling healthcare, materials, utilities are getting sold from our prior to the Fed vid. Energies are 2 going 3. Technologies just went green to red as well. So, right? Visa, you got the inside fiver to maybe RevStrat the day. Right now, it's trying to go 2-1-2 fiver back up. And the spreads could also not be the best there. Be careful. But MasterCard is tenors 2-2 back up after going 2 down days. So potential outside day MasterCard on a hammer tenor as well. That's good Lotto Friday stuff. And those were the guys that were buying before the semis were strong. So they might just still be willing to buy those even while semis do some gap up, sell, profit taking. And the spreads there are still just not very good in MasterCard Visa. See, Chewy's up almost 1% off the fiver for the small account guys. You got what you wanted. CoreWeave, they're still at the lows. AMD still at the lows. SPY still at the lows. Meta, you might get the RevStrat fiver here on the gappers. MasterCard high day. Visa off the fiver goes instantaneously as it's supposed to. Can I run through the futures as well? I mean, we're already doing it. 2-2 gap up sell SPY. That's the futures. Same thing. Now on the futures, we prefer go back in the direction of the week, right? So 2 down, 2 up fiver, back in the direction of the week. We'd love that. But for now, it's gap up sell, so we can get short because we know what a tight stop looks like. 2-2 tenor, you just hit the bid. If it doesn't work, so be it. You try it the other way. SPY, yep. So you can see SPY, if we look left, right, these will be your levels of reclaim right here. It's that daily outside bar and inside bar. Right here, that 2-2 tenor shooter, dink, right, sending them back in. But while they're doing that, it's not market crash, it's rotation. Because look at here, look at Visa. Inside fiver, we pointed that out. Bang, right, up $2 instantaneously. There's your 2-2 tenor. Anyone short Visa? Gone. So they're going a little bit after that, not much, but a little bit. And then MasterCard, right, they're doing similar, going after that. So you can see financials too. So what are they doing, right? On the gap up, everyone that's long yesterday in semis, they're like, oh, perfect, it gapped up, I bought it here. Ooh, I'm just gonna go 225er, sell it here, right? That's exactly what they're doing. And this is why we said on the gap up, we don't want to just go buying it right away because we know everyone's long yesterday. If they want to take profit right there, that's when it starts happening. So for now, we're seeing rotation out of semis into financials. It's kind of the gist. Now, what that shows you is it's not market crash. So it's not SPY crash, right? It's just rotation, which is slightly different. But we'll see, right? Depends on how fast they want to sell those semis off. That could scare some people. But for now, semis still gap up selling the tenors. You'll see Chewy is still in 2-2 day up. Crowd is still inside day up. And then CoreWeave is gap up selling here as well on the tenors. AMD is gap up selling the tenors. So you got all this stuff you could be hitting the bid on. Gap them up, 2-2 down. Crowd shooter 2-up fiver. What I see. Oh, it was going to be an inside fiber. I see. Didn't stay. We can see right here SPY. So they go 2-1. So does that become a 2 again? Reconfirming, or does it stay 1 and then go reversal? Be the question. You'll see AMD goes inside 5, so they firm up slightly there. They still have the tenors down though. Chewy 225er back down. SPY does go, what, 2 down again? It's about to go 2 down again right here on the fiver. And that reconfirms the gap up sell here. Because you can see they sell, then they come back to somewhere, reconfirm, then they come back to somewhere, reconfirm. So, second fiver of the tenor. They're still trying to go down in here, potentially, and reclaim. You'll see AMD on the tenor, still bringing them in. CoreWeave on the tenor, still bringing them in. So they're reconfirming the downside there. Support 742, that's not exactly how it works. Now, could it act as support? Sure. But that's a level of reclaim. That's not a level of support, as far as we're concerned. Now, you could say, hey, gap fill, right, blah, blah, blah. But what you want to see is you want a signal. If any level is going to act as support, you need an actionable signal. So you need a hammer oneer, right, at the very least, to try and take something back up in here. But if we look in there, we now have the second 15ers of the day, 2-2-15 down on all this stuff. How many of those 15ers do we have would be the question. For you? Yeah. Well, I would be careful. Because we know outside bars exist, right? So how does an outside bar happen? It goes 2 up first, taking yesterday's highs, then it reverses. So if we know that's true, we don't want to call it too soon. AMD 15ers down, hitting them with CoreWeave, hitting them. Tell them to puke. Gap up and sell them down. Semis as well. So we go in the semis, you can see this. They gap them up. 2-2-15 back down, trying to go outside day is what they're trying to do. And now we're right at yesterday's highs. So if there was, we wouldn't say it acts as support, but they gap fill. And then if that's below that, it's trying to go here, 525. And we look, where's the evidence? The month is still red. The week is still red and in force. The day is red. The 60 is red. At this point, we have no evidence whoever was buying yesterday. So you can see SPY hits the bid again. I added on that 2 down fiver. Good. Core weave, here it is. Coming through the pivots here. And if you remember pre-market, I know it was quick pre-market, but we pointed out all this stuff to take out, and they're doing it. So you're getting that. And this is, again, why we don't like to buy the gap up. We like to let them triangle down or triangle they out first, stopping everyone out. Because now, who wants to buy this, right? Especially if it goes deeper in here. Who wants to buy this? No one. So if it does start recovering, now we have all these shorts to come back through. And if it doesn't, we already have the shorts if you hit the bid on some of those 10ers or those 15ers. So we can play both since we know how the strat works. Take reversals. If they work, they work. If they don't, find a new one. If we go to your financials, they did go inside 15, so they did not follow through on that, which means Visa comes back and MasterCard comes back. So those guys didn't stay up. So they tried to rotate in financials and they didn't do that. So is there anything they're rotating into right now is the question. Energies, right? But right now, look at 18, 11, 12, 12, 7, 5, 5, 5. So what's this showing you? They're selling all these guys. What are they rotating into? Some energies, some staples, albeit barely. So technically, I don't want to say market crash, like scare you guys out of your long-term stuff. But technically, we really don't see that much rotation going on here on that second 15 of the day. It's just a lot of gaps up being sold off, so a lot of profit taking. You got another 2 down fiver SPY reconfirming, another 2 down on AMD here. Nope, inside on AMD, and then inside on CoreWeave. So you can see on CoreWeave, the 225er triangle layout. Here's a triangle. And this is why we call it a triangle, because you have a low, a high, a low. There's your triangle right there. And then it's drawn right to left. So triangle layout, these guys are all short now. So if it were to reverse and everyone's short, what's going to happen? Profit takey of the short, right? So this is why you'd prefer it. So let's say we go hammer fiver SPY. If that goes 2-2, you have these shorts to come back through to help speed it up, which is what you'd be looking for. So maybe that kicks in. We'll see. We've got still 9 minutes on the 15ers. So these guys could close a lot redder than they are now, unless they form a new fiber signal or something. So we're going to hold off on it until we get some bigger ones to reverse that back up. You see Chewy. So they had the fivers up, triggered the day, didn't stay up there. 225ers down. Now triggering the daily open, green to red. Amazon. Nope, not anymore. Oh, 2-2. I thought you meant it was setting up that fiber. So what we can do is while the market's coming in, if we're looking for things that are going to go back up, we want things closer to those daily opens, ideally setting up some of those 15ers. So I'm going to set that scan up while we have the time here. You can see stuff holding their daily opens, all the bot ETFs, robotics, all the defense sector, crowd, net, so all your cybersecurity stuff. CoreWeave, another low, so they go 2 down. They're still triangling them out. SPY goes back to the lows, right? So you can see, is that support? No, level of reclaim. And it's level of reclaim because this is an inside bar and that's a mother bar. So until we can get a new signal, this is trying to go RevStrat day and take this out for 743 or 34, 59. Till you can get a 15 or something to change that. But yeah, Amazon, they're still sitting firm for now. Things that are really green, EPAM. If you guys recall EPAM from last time we talked about this stuff on Friday, like what are they actually buying? Not the semis and tech, right? They're buying a subsector of tech right here, EPAM hammer. Above that, 104, give you EPAM 108.67, give you EPAM 111. So for the traders today, you want this. This is what you want. Long green bars, signals in force, full time frame continuity. That's what a buy is, longer term. But that's going to be at the top of the list this morning. DXCM's up at the top of the list as well, ripping back through. Used to be a lot higher. So you'll see the triangle in here expanding. Trying to go to 92 today. DXCM. And that's bright green. So these are going to be observations we can point out. And I have a cool new observation list, which I'm super excited to test out today. Beautiful. Now I just need to make it something that scrolls across the top, so it has those observations going during the stream, and we're cooked, or we're set. But here it is. So these are the observations: EPAM, DXCM. You can see crowd still gap up sell coming back through. So potential outside day crowd give you this 67.55, and the way you get in on that, there's a lot of twos down in here. But the way you'd want to get in on that is like, let's get an inside fiver or a 2-up fiver first, and then maybe they hit them and keep going if they're going to do it. SPY's under those reclaim levels at 70.40 or 742, 742.50. Chewy goes hammer fiver to try and retrigger the day back up. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. 5 minutes until this first 30s of the day close out. We'll see if we get that inside fiver SPY. And if we get that to cook up, we could use that fiver to go inside down, trigger the 30s, or ideally, there's a couple options here. If it goes inside up on the 30 flip, maybe they firm up. They try and come back through these guys, right? That's a possibility. If they go inside up and then rev strat to trigger the 30s, then you could have a pretty explosive rev strat to take out. But that's something we're going to have to find out as we come to the end of the 30. So this is what we'd call exhaustion, right? That 30 seller, sell comes towards the end of the bar, and they're starting to take some profit, right? So that's what we see. 225er, they firm up. So they had 225er down, now 225er up, and then the question is that going to create what? Would this create the 22215 if they're going to keep things going? And then we want to know about anyone that's setting that up as a hammer 15 or something, ideally. So we'll take a look. If you're a 30-60 guy, you can see SPY. It'd be closer to a 2230 pivot machine gun of this stuff. So the bears, they're a little bit closer to actually kicking them in. We got a Qs closer to the 2230 down. Dow Jones closer to the 30s down. Then IWM, wham, right? These guys got demolished. So they did not have a good time. And this is because of IWM coming back through a previous range. Look at all these guys. So this goes 2-2, and then wham, all their stops get taken out right here. Versus SPY, just reclaimed. Notice we haven't come back through any previous range. That's why it's not speeding up here, which is key. Very key. But things that are firmer than SPY, crowd inside 15. So if we're going to have that 2 going 3 week on crowd, the inside 15 would cause that. And it looks like SPX, they go 2 up fiver, don't go anywhere, reclaim. So it might get that 2-2 and that 30 to kick in. You got this big broadening formation here. $7,370 would be the outside day target. All right, so right on the flip, we're going to be watching those fibers on SPY or SPX, depending on how you want to play it. And we'll see on Qs as well, same thing. So you could be watching all those semis, whichever one you want. SMH is inside fiber, so it's slightly firmer. Google also be inside 15, a little bit firmer. Amazon is firmer at the highs. So we still have some of the Mag 7, Microsoft's at the highs. Meta's inside 15, so they're still decently firm on some of the Mag 7 guys. Three seconds. Okay, second 30s of the day. Is that daily seller still selling? Because that was the daily guy, first 30. Second 30 decouples, new 30 open shows us the 30-minute guy. What was the 30-minute guy doing today? Meta closer to 15ers down to negate. There's fivers down, SPY. Does that cause the 30s to kick in below this? Pivot machine gun style, 741.55. And the key here is it's got to be below that, 741.55, or else it could be triangle layout and then trying to come back into this morning range. So it's got to stay down there. Qs goes inside to start. Semis goes inside to start. So the big guys, they firm up. Energies goes inside. Financials goes inside. $30 and force SPX. Using tech, take out the morning lows with the SPY. Energy's about to take them out. Real estate's took them out. Healthcare's took them out. The only thing not taking them out is what, discretionary. There's some guys that are firm with this, which is your Amazon. 30's up. So they're buying Amazon while SPY's down. But is that it? Right? Nice pivot machine gun you got there, SPY. See if you kick them in. This could make the whole day right there on the pivot machine gun. Goes instantly from the rebreak of that 30-minute. Targets 1, 2 taken out. We got target 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right, we got all this stuff to try and take out. And the hope is that we can just go wham, right, and take some out really quick. And then those options really spike up, give you a nice morning. And then I can go golfing before my girlfriend gets off work today. How's that sound? That sounds good to me. Crowd ticks down, so you might get the TheStrat in crowd if they can confirm it back up after that. But they're negating what we know to be true on the day. You'll see Chewy goes 30 shooter down, so they went down, triangle layout on the daily trigger, and then they're coming back through these guys. So for now, Chewy, they're stopping them out. You'll see Meta on the 15 and down, about to take morning lows. Whoever bought Meta this morning, they might have some issues here, changing what you know to be true. We see them going after TLT. That's not good. So they're buying IEF, VIX, VIXI, and not TLT, but the components. So if we go in here, simultaneous breakdown, Dow, Hack ETF, Home Builders, Dow Jones, drones, biotechs, right? They're starting to sell all these guys. They're already selling semis to start the day. There's some rotation in staples, but not much. You go to these guys here. Look at this. VIX, boom. You go to the 60 on VIX, or the 30, I mean. 3-2 UVXY coming through these guys. 3-2 VIXI coming through these guys. That's not good, because a 3-2 shows aggression. So for now, the second 30s of the day, we can say they're really not buying that much. There's some staples. They're getting some Amazon. But they're gap up sell everything else back through a range. And I just, come on, give it to us. Come on, SPY. Just go wham, right? Just give me like 15 points right here. Give me a grand. And I'm going to call it a morning, literally. And we might get that outside day down in here. Which, that would, what a blessing that would be. What a great morning that would be. Crowd negates the day. Green to red, so that's trying to rev strat 2. So now if we were to just go and look at the most 2s and 2s going 3 to know what is true, we can look at the 2s. And technically, this isn't the best view of it. We can see we had 216 up. And these, I believe, are sorting themselves based on the color. I actually can't trust this yet. I can't trust it yet. But if we were to look at the amount of 2s going through right now, I'd imagine you have a huge list of it. And we can check it on the other scanner. It's just not going to have a pretty visual, per se. Try my best to pull it up. All right, just under $1,000. Come on, SPY. Do it. Just go wham. Take them out. These are the guys we want to take out. All these guys here. Anyone stops against that. But this is my positions right now. I had a bigger SPY put position, but then I moved most of it out on before the 30 flip. Then I got into SPX puts on the 30 flip. And what I'm going to do, ideally, we just like close our eyes and be like, wait 9 minutes and see if they really kick them in. But man, I'm just looking to get a nice win before the morning ends and call it a good morning. So I reduced on that when they started pulling back on me. So now I have a good cushion, and maybe we can, if we do go outside day, then I have this good cushion from that shooter fiver right before the flip that we knew about, 15 points, right? Huge cushion for me. So I'm good there. And normally we just add and hold because we know it's going outside day. But I want a good cushion. I just want to be able to step away today. There's no reason to stress about it. Put wall target. Again, support is not in a previous range. Now, can it go into a previous range, stop, and then reverse? Yes, but it's not because of support. It's what we would call crowded positions. And it's important you know that because, like before, you're like, oh, this is my support at 7. It's like, no. That's levels of reclaim. Way different. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about that while this plays through. But let me show you. Oops. I don't know if slash reclaim actually works in here. No, it doesn't. And I am making some changes to these docs, so just be aware these are work in progress. But if we go into broadening formations, I believe it's in here. Yeah, levels of reclaim. Look at SPY, right? Reclaim, boom, nice shooter fiver you got there, SPY. That's down 20 points. You guys making money? I hope so. And if you are, go to TheStrat.ai and join us. We do this every day. But here it is. Levels of reclaim, right? It's when you have a previous range, you go up, and then you come back in, right? That's what true support and resistance would be. So energies this quarter, right? Inside bar last quarter, they go down. Right when they come back in, there it is, support. And it happens on outside bars, right? This would be broadening formations. Reclaim here, reclaim here, reclaim here. It's not support and resistance. Because if it was support, that level wouldn't break here. This level wouldn't be blown through. This level wouldn't be blown through. So that's the problem is when you think in terms of support and resistance, levels will get blown out and then it recovers. Or levels will get blown out to the downside and then it recovers. So that's the whole issue. So we go to SPY. For me to say, oh, yesterday's highs is support would be wrong, because anyone long yesterday, they're long yesterday. So when it comes back into that, they're like, oh, get me out. Get me out. I had this huge win yesterday. It gapped up. I was up so much. Get me out of this thing. Where's it going? It's going to take them all out, because everyone yesterday is like, get me out of this thing. I don't want to be long this. And then you gauge the magnitude. It's going down there if we're right. 7315. So you got a lot of stuff to work with there. But you can see what we mean, right? And when we're right, we're really right. We hit the bid here on the fiver, puke, goes fast, dumps, option spike, VIX goes crazy. That was good stuff. Great stuff. And I'm just about $1,000 on the morning. Let's see. Yep, $1,500. And that's good enough for me. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leg into a spread, because again, it might be going outside, or it is going outside day. It's going here. So I can either leg into a spread. I can leave the winner to just win more. I can do whatever I want. But ideally, I would try and leg into a spread. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to let them try and pay me there. And maybe we'll try and get after meta here to see if that kicks in. But on SPX puts, that's over 100%. And they weren't even that far out of the money. They're going here, 7370. Give that to us in SPX. I'm going to move my put contracts to there. I just passed my evaluation. Thank you, Alex. Good stuff. Good stuff. The selling on MU is unreal. No, gosh. We got to stop being surprised of a 2 that's going 3, boys and girls. And kind of yanking your chain, Chuck. But it's not surprising if you just know. If you know. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. That's why we made TheStrat.ai/docs, so everyone can know. You're going to want to know this one, right? So we go in here. The 3060 gappers, the core universe. What do? Is the core setup of the universe of gappers. Use 30-minute and 60-minute reversals with tight stops to create positions on volatile gapping stocks. This is the starting point for traders. Gap down buys, right? 2 down, 2 up on a gap down. That's something you look for. You do it on, once you get good at this, you can do it on the 15, 5, 3, 1-minute charts, but you start at the 3060. What else? The gap up sell, the mirror. Gap up sells are performed from exhaustion risk. Gap ups not expected to continue. And the preferred entry is the 2-2 back down on the 3060. What do we do on SPY to get this huge paycheck here? Gap up, right? Did it gap up here? It did. Did it go 2-2-30 here? And did we know about that way before it happened? Yes, it did. When that happened, everyone's stops go off and you get paid. That's the strat, baby. Didn't get filled on Q's puts. That's fine. That's good. Just look for more setups, right? But we want to see more. Give us the outside day SPY. That's what we really want to see. Give us down here 43.70, and then if it hits that, right? Who's to say it can't go to 43.13? So that's all in the books, and we want to make sure we know what the magnitude of a rev strat, the 1-bar reversal strategy, which tends to happen on a gap. The magnitude, right? Inside it goes down, then outside hits this bar's high, the 2 down. Not the 1, the 2 down. So when we look at a bearish 1-3, we go to the daily SPY. inside after a 2 down, right? So 2 down, 1, 2 up. Where's it going? Down there. 7,313. That's the magnitude anytime this day is below here. So that 30, if you hit the bid in there, as long as the day is below its open, you want this to take out 73.12. Short term, this, but if you do that, then you look down and left and you say, well, maybe it takes this out, 72.94 pivot machine gun style. Then it takes this, and then it takes this, and then all of a sudden you're up. You could be up 40 grand on a position that might have costed you a couple $100, right? It's because look at this. It's a 170 point SPX move. Yeah, that's possible. That's 100% possible. And what that means is if you made profit, what you can do is you can buy those puts down there. You can be like, well, I'm going to go after this, 73.11. So that way, you know, you can risk their money instead of your own into lottos. So we go 7,300 puts right now. They're $2. That's pretty cheap, right? Because those could go $10 in the money fast if this were to like fully play out. Now, timing that's a different thing, right? If you're going to time trying to take that out, maybe you'd look for a new signal since the 30 is almost, it's about halfway through. It's not exhausted yet. We got 15 minutes left. But let's mine the next flip. And what we'd say is, right, shooter 15, sell, and then we want to see, do they come back to sell more? Or do they go inside profit take, right? But we really want that outside day, right? We want the magnitude. That would be super fun, wouldn't it? All right. So you can see they go 1. The second that happens, boom, everything firms up. Now, what firmed up? MU, SPX, Meta, right? Now we want it to become a 2, because if it's a 2 again, then it's still going. And it confirms the 30-minute. Because the 30 is still true, right? Still true. But that seller has to hit the bid below this, or else it's not going down. You see? Google still at the highs. Amazon's still up there for now. They had slight poke up on the oneers on SPY. So that could be enough. IWM goes outside day, let's say. Yeah, look at that. So ideally, we should have been shorting IWM right at the open because levels of reclaim, right? It reclaims 293, then the reversal through all these guys. That would have been the weaker one. We should have hit that. I was just watching SPY because I was watching SPY, you know? But 2 down against SPY, boom, that seller's still here. They sell, they sell, they sell, they sell. What were their algorithms told to do today? Sell the gap up, that's for sure. Stocks. So premium member made 5,500 on SPX. 5,500, beautiful. I want I want to just go golf. That's what I want to do. Not because I don't want to see this outside day, but I want to be done and golf. So I want SPY to go outside day like right now. Now, the thing we got to be aware of then is we got the flip coming, 13 minutes. And we call it the flip because guess what it does? It flips, right? And what do we mean when we say it flips? What we mean is it was going down, and then the new 60 opens, they could change what they're doing because algorithms have to be told when to execute the trade. So on the second hour of the trading day, a lot of times you'll see those algorithms told to stop doing what they're doing or to keep doing what they're doing. So if you look at IWM, outside day reversal, that's coming back in. If you're short in there, you could try and go the other way. But what we want to see, down in here, there might be some seller exhaustion. So we might have to stop some guys out. That's okay. But what we want to see still is that outside day. And since we have the flip in about, 13 minutes here, we need to be aware of that. Either we're going to get the outside day before the flip, which would be ideal, and then the flip just pounds them. Or the flip's going to happen, and then we're going to have to disseminate, are they still selling? If we look here, materials still at the lows, healthcare's at the lows, financials at the lows, staples are kind of firm. Energy's at the lows. Tech is at the lows. Literally the only thing that's like, it's like what? Amazon? MU, so you can see 225er down short, inside fiber add, 22 right there. That was when they're finished selling. So they started selling the first fibers of the day here. They stopped right there. So that's something you want to know about, right? You go to IWM, you can see that profit taking starting to kick in. SPY, you can see some profit taking starting to kick in. So we had the shooter fiber here, SPY, sell, 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 reversal, outside fiber. Now, that was that initial gap up sell, whoever was in here. And then they stopped just now. Doesn't mean they're gone, right? They might have more to sell still. But what we want to find out then is how are they going to do that? Because we got 10 minutes until the new 60s. The 15ers, you're still nowhere near reversing that. You'd have to take this out, right? But they are firming up a little bit. And then the 30s, you can see they took out most of these pivots nearby. Then they go and form that lower wick. So what we might see is they might go like inside 30 or inside 60 if they were to stay up in here. But we will find out. We got about 10 minutes. And you can draw out this little oneer triangle if you'd like to. This is now what you're going to be dealing with. How are we going to get out of this thing? Maybe they go 2-2-1 down if they're really going to hit them. But let us find out. Right where I got my next week put. Wrong! Oh my gosh. No, you can't do that. It's called gap up 2230 back down, not gap up, sell it after everything works. Oh my gosh, no. And that's not on us. That is on you. Because that 30 reversal happened here, and we knew that was about to happen from the fiver. Down in here, without a new signal, how are we gonna add? You would have had to enter on either a 1 minute or a continuation. Incorrect though. We got to do the strat. Reversals, back through a range. So the only thing stay in the daily open, we can see staples are above the daily open at this point. That's really, what is that? That's all we're seeing. It's going outside day. Yeah, but you, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. If I short it here, and then I'm up $1,000 in 10 minutes, and I say I want to see it go outside day, that doesn't mean you short it down there. That means I short at the top of the broadening formation. I want to see it go to the other side of that. It doesn't mean you get in at the bottom of the triangle and say, oh, well, I think it's going to keep going. You can do that, but you're not going to make money. That's momentum. That's not reversal. It's way different. Because we short it here, it reverses. Broadening formation tells us at the very least we're going to start coming back into this, which triggers all this. And then down in here, ticks down, comes back in, profit taking. All these guys who are short, profit takers against them. You have to be the one to say, oh, it's going up? Nah, now it just reversed. Now it's not going up. But we can see SPY, they go 3-2-5ers, so they do firm up here. IWM, 2-2-5ers back through this previous range of these guys. They're firming up here. Looks like tech is what? You can see they complete all of this. So they went 2-2-15 here short, back through all these guys. And once they stopped all those guys out, then they start profit taking. So about 7 minutes to the flip. You can see the last part of the 60s, higher exhaustion, and there's profit taking. Now the question is, if they set up these 15ers, does the 15 trigger the 60, which should be way up here? Or do we start getting stuck inside? Because if you get a big outside bar and then you go higher, go lower, then get close out in the middle here, we're going to open an inside 60 and then we might stay inside. So we're going to have to find out. What we'd want to see if we're going to really pound them on the continuation would be like 3, 2 up, and what? Maybe like an inside bar or a shooter or something, so we could go back through that on the flip. So while we wait for that, and we wait and see, what is the strategy? Because MC Whoops, I hate to see you not do it correctly. The strategy is a reversal. So it means price was going one direction, then it changes direction. That's when we execute. Back through a previous range, ideally in the direction of full time frame continuity. It guarantees a loser on the other side. And a previous range full of losers means if we're right, price speeds up like SPX did. So we want the worst looking chart in the world. We want this chart. We want this one. It's like, this looks terrible. And then we're going to redeem this chart. You ready? It sets up potential reversal. All right. It's been going down. So they're short. They're stopping these guys out. And then right when this kicks in here, you can see it took like 2 seconds at the open, but right when that kicks in, it starts going green. Now, everyone's short here. This is a reversal. Those guys have to cover their shorts, and there's a buyer in here because July, this month, they're buying. So there it is. And then, if that works, then we can say, I'm going to risk their money with a break-even stop. I'm going to reduce, and I'm going to risk their money. So I still have a guaranteed win for sure if it works out. Do whatever you want, but I want to see it go up there because I'm in a winning position. And so long as price doesn't reverse, we're trying to go up there. So we go to SPX today. It's the same thing. Goes up, shooter, right? We look left. Are we coming back through a range of guys? This is a range. Yes, these guys are long. So the second that kicks in, that's where we execute. We don't execute down here. We don't execute on the continuation 15 unless if we wait 30 minutes right here, 2 up, red. Is that back through a previous range of these guys? Yes, it is. We execute below that. 7-4-3-9. It should go instantly with a tight stop. And then we go to the 5 minute. And since we know the 30's there, the 5 minute, we execute below this. It should go instantly with a tight stop. Why? Because at the time of the trigger, the day, the week, the month, the 60 group was red. Therefore, it was algorithms hitting the bid back through people's stops. It should just go. And it did. Puke. And then down here, it's like, yes, I want to see it go outside day. And then it starts firming up. Here's profit taking. We don't short it down there. Wrong. We short it here because we know if this works, it's going outside day. And then down here, I already made all the money. I can reduce, guarantee I'm up, 800, or I don't even know how much I'm up. I left some of my position on, so it might be down a little bit. Yeah, I'm up, just about 600 something bucks to start the day. If it's going outside day, right, it could be $10,000. But how is it going to go outside day? The second 60. And if it goes inside, it's going to be the third 60, 3-1. How are we going to get out of this? So we need a new signal because that 30 signal, it only lasts another 4 minutes. And if we go to what is exhaustion risk? Exhaustion risk is the risk that an actionable signal expires. Exhaustion is how much time is left in the signal. All right. So we have 58 minutes left. It's low exhaustion. Towards the end of the hour, the end of the 30, this 30 reversal, high exhaustion. We have 2 minutes left. So what's happening? It's profit taking because exhaustion's high. You go to the 60. We had 1 hour rev strat here, and it's profit taking towards the end because exhaustion is high. Therefore, this shouldn't even be surprising that, hey, like they do some profit taking. Which is why once we're in a winner, it's like win, win, win. They start taking profit, reduce. All right, let's see if they set up again. Give me a shooter 5 or something. Yeah, well, at least other people can see then. Sarah. So as we come to the flip, it's called the flip for a reason. We go to IWM, broadening formation, and then inside bar on the 15. Potentially it goes 2-1-2 back through all this stuff. Maybe. It would be very much an inside 60. The ideal scenario we would be looking for would be anyone that's closer to taking morning highs if we're going to buy stuff. So we've got a couple minutes here. If you could help me scan those for those of you guys in premium, that'd be a super huge help. And I'm going to do my best to just use the scanner and get it done. Let's see here. Where did I put it? There it is. So Meta, what? Slight 2 down 30 minute? Maybe it'd be a little firmer. Let's see. GE, you got the hammer 30. 2-2 hammer day, hammer week. So maybe General Electric kicks in. We'll see. EA. Let's see what the futures are looking like. So we can see the futures. We can still draw this triangle out like this, and it'll do it for me. But if we draw that right to left, we can see it in here. So we have 3, 2 down, and then it's going to be a lot closer to opening inside of this right here. But we can see that triangle, right? It's like here's your higher high, and then we'd want to see the lower low ideally. But we're going to mind the flip, and you'll see how tech goes like dead in the middle. So the fact that you're inside, what that does is either you become a 2, which should be closer to doing, or everything just went a 1, right? Everything's 1. So, if we were to scan and take a look at what just happened, it might take a minute for it to update. But you would see pretty much the whole market just went inside like this. Now, anything that's not inside, it helps you out because you can scan and you could say, well, who's 2 up, who's 2 down right now? And that will help you out to see if there's any rotation going on. So FFIV and VRSN. Let's see. Nope. Nope. Where is the bigger scanner? I just lost it on my desktop. Here it is. But you'll see IDBM goes inside, tech goes inside. Now, since they're 3s, right, you have big outside bar here, you can attempt this inside 15 to go back through it because you got long red and green bars. That's something we're looking for. Tech, you got 2-2-15. So you can try and go back through it like that. SPY, same thing. You just have to be aware if it does not work going to the other side, you are going to be stuck in the middle of this thing big time. And you're more likely to get stuck in there when you have lower volatility and things tend to contract. So we'll see. I got 13 minutes to try and do that. What we'd prefer is to get that outside day, though, like a 2 down, 2 up, 2 down or something. That'd be much preferred. And let's take a quick peek just so you can see what I mean. We call the 60 the major time frame group, or the only major group that's intraday, because it breaks the day up into like 6.5 hours or 7.5 hours. And so if we go in here, you'll see a 1 or a 2. So utilities, 2 up but red. Staples, 2 down. And look at this. Everything's a 1. You got 99% of the market inside. 1,436 stocks out of, let's see. Yeah, 1,374 out of 1,436. Look at that, right? So what does that show you? They blew out all the guys on the downside. Because everything, look at this. If we go 2 down, oops, set up. If we go 2 down, and that's on the previous 60 actually. If we go 2 down on the previous 60, we had 509 twos. If we go 2 up, we had 212. What? That's like nothing. Wow, we had a lot of ones. And right now we have 1,300 inside. That's pretty nuts. And then what we can do here, so we can scan and we could say, well, who's taking out the morning highs after going down? So these would be your guys that are a little stronger after already going down. So let's see if there's anything of interest there. Jeff on the gap down buy. 2260s back up above 5450. That's really about it. There's a lot of nobodies in here. So things that are firming up this morning after going 2 down, you got like nothing. You got like nothing. Nothing taking them out. So it's like, how is SPY going to recover up here if there's nothing going up that we can possibly find? I don't know, right? That's a really good question. I don't know how it's supposed to do that. Now, if we look at things that were already going up, you'd get some of the stronger names. So you go to Google, yeah, right? But it's exhaustion risk, just right up into the highs. Man, we're going to have so many 3-1s here. Amazon's still pounding the highs, so you can see they're still buying that. And you can see versus trading the 15 IWM, which is well below that daily open. This 15 on Amazon, well above the daily open and full time frame continuity. So this one's better and stronger than the others. But it's really one of the few ones that we can see on here. Which is good if we're going outside day to the downside, because that's what I want to see. Good stuff. But we need some new signals. My wife is going to be stoked on having a screener in the kitchen whenever I walk by. Oh, gosh. I don't know about that. That's hilarious, though. For those of you guys on the stream. He's got the wedding photo. He's got the screener. Wow. He's stratting it up. That's amazing. And this is built on Hyperliquid, right? It's pretty neat. You see, so the 15ers, they did re-break them. They are trying. They're still inside 30, still very much an inside 60 on the SPY, but it is broadening. Just how are they going to be able to do that? And this is what we call a chop shop when you're all inside like this. But could it change? Maybe, but it's going to be pretty difficult to make that change. Let's see. The 12-hour Rev Strat setup on the Strat. So I understand wanting to get the reversal, but I've seen it reverse immediately. Yeah, that's fine. Stop out. I think the thing you're missing here is it's supposed to go immediately. If it doesn't go immediately, it's not true. It's like the way the execution works is if we know everyone here is short here, short here, short here. When this is reversal, we take the offer. It's an inside bar. We take the offer and cause this to become a 2 on SPY, right? And we might not have that many shares, but we cause it to break, or at least we want to be in that causal, that group that causes it. It should just go. Why should it just go? These guys are short. It reversed here. They got to cover their short. And you could say at this point, it's only the 60 group, right? But right now, the buyer's more aggressive. So if right now the buyer's more aggressive and there's stops against these pivots, it should break and just go. Similar in the same way, this 2230 here, when that broke, pivot, it just went wham, right? And then towards the end of that 30, the profit taker is starting bringing it back in. Now, does that mean it won't come back though? No. Right? Ideally, it breaks and goes instantly, but a lot of times what we'll see is like this. We go to like the 1 minute. And this is, again, trading inside 60. We prefer not to do this. Oops. But when you go 2-2 here, you can see it does kind of like dance around this. And you can either say, this is micro triangle layout. I'm going to have a slightly wider stop than 0.2, 20 cents on SPY. I go 30 cents and you pretty much just stay in here. Or it's like you stop out, you get back in. Now, this is why, though, we want to align everything we know. We want full time frame continuity with a reversal back through a range. Because this shouldn't happen if our analysis is true. This shouldn't happen. The reason this is happening here is because it's inside 60. Right? It goes outside bar and then inside bar. So look at this. Inside bar, right? They chop them into bits. Then wham, outside bar, there's your broadening formation. And then inside bar here, chopping them up. So if we know that's true, what is that? That's something we teach. We call it here. The inside, outside, inside. Right? It's crazy. So that's just, again, inside bar, inside bar. The inside, outside, inside is the sequence. Inside bar, inside bar. Contraction, expansion, contraction. The next move should be expansion. So does that mean this hour or does that mean the next hour? Right? Ideally, the next hour. Now, it is getting green, so they're starting to drift back in here, which could start triggering these guys to do stuff. But it's like we prefer that go inside, for sure. The second inside bar is the signal. So if we count it, right? This is the first one. This is the second one right here. This would be the signal in 49 minutes, right? So we're just going to step away, ideally. Unless you're the 15er guy, you might have been playing that. The pattern is fractal, but what the outside bar tells you is the broadening formation here exists by definition. The inside bar represents contraction, volatility, and range. So inside, outside, inside is contraction, expansion, contraction. If the sequence should continue, inside, inside, expansion, right? The second inside bar means the equilibrium formed. And then once you get the 3-1-2, the break fires. So you get 1, 3, 1, 2 right there, gone. Right? So if we go on the chart, this is what Doc N did. 1, 3, 1. It goes 2 down, but then 3, 1, 2 down, then it goes 3, 1. Watch this. 2 up, breaks out of this, closes up here. 2, boom, earnings comes out, blows up. So it was 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, right? That's a good thing to know about because it would have helped you in this mess, right? We also knew we wanted this to go up, but it would have helped you in this mess to know that was happening for sure. If you didn't know, it's like my moving average, my SMA, my supply and demand zone. Like you're just getting destroyed in there, right? Destroyed. So we want to know about that. QQQ, 1, 3, 1. SPY, 1, 3, 1. IWM, 3, 1. Go to Dow Jones. 1, 3, 1. It's like, they're almost all doing the same thing. Is that something we'd look for too? Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're gonna pause for about 47 minutes and then we'll come back. And then we'll start talking, which means we have 47 minutes. So if you guys have questions, it looks like we got a couple hundred people tuned in today, which is really cool. But if you want to chat strat, I'll open the community chat and we'll take a look. And by the way, there is the possibility these 15ers kick in. So since the day is red, the week is red, month's red, we'd prefer to try and take those 15ers, which means ticks up, doesn't go anywhere. It might tick down and take out the lows. So maybe that happens. Maybe. I'm willing to play that just because I have the profits from the morning to risk. But let's see. Are we recording this? Yeah. What's my take on MU? All right. Well, let's pull up the 4 time frames. Whenever you analyze any asset, you want at least 4. You want the month, the week, the day, and the 60 group. So MU, we already talked about this, but you can see they're selling this month. They're selling this week. The gap up, they're selling today. Anytime this is red in here on the 15, the 30, or 60, they're selling right now. So this is what we call algorithmic selling. They're identified at the open below 919.65. And this week and this month in our weekend video, we identified that seller would be there. But you'll see they had the 2215 here in the direction of all this, which means right there when the algorithm's kicked in to sell, boom, takes out all these guys. Then you got double inside bar. So this would be a double inside bar to cause the outside day to here. It's going to 789.00. That's where it's going. So we want to see that ideally in MU in about 1 minute and 17 seconds. If you can take that out, you can take out low a day, and then you might be able to take this out. And you'd have full time frame continuity to do it. You can see SPY, they're still kind of chopping them up back and forth. Look at that. They're firm, but they're chopping them up. Proud for the 60 flip. Inside, just like everything else. But I saw what you're seeing. I saw that prior to the flip. But we prefer crowd. Notice it's a 2 up today. What do we want to do? Buy. Inside signal up today, we would like to buy. Set up the rev strat, we would like to buy. So that 2215, this back through these guys, that might be worth knowing about. If you're trading on the 30, do you need full time frame continuity? You just need continuity. You don't need full time frame continuity because of what is considered override, which tells us how continuity is calculated and how it works. So we go to what is the strat here. Price must trade in the direction of the most 2s, and 2s becoming 3s across 4 more time frames. However, the day and 60 override because today and right now, right? If we look in here, if the day and the 60 are red, what's happening today and right now? The sellers are hitting the bid. Therefore, doesn't matter how green the month is. If today and right now is red, they're sold, then they finish selling here, profit taking, inside bar. So we go to SPY, they go 2 up again, they're still coming back through these guys. Dow Jones coming back through those guys. IWM, not so much, right? But you can see that seller, as far as we know, they disappeared right when that new 60 opened. Gone. Now, since we prefer to see that outside day, what could we consider that? Potentially, if that day stays red, it's triangle day out. Because they sell, they get stopped out, right? Stop them out, and then broadening formation back down. That's what we'd want to see. Because if we're going to go outside day, you got to stop some guys out, then set up again, giving us a new reversal, a new signal. So we'd prefer that, but right now we see them coming back up. So you got the potential 30s up here. Dow Jones takes the hammer 30 up. So that's where you'd want to look at for trading those indexes. Dow is stronger. If you go to Meta, you got the hammer 15 to cause what? 22230 right here. Meta above this 5580. That'd be stronger. And then SPY would be above that for 13 minutes. Now we just got to be aware, you are inside 60. So if this doesn't start taking off through here, you're chopping them up. So we still prefer those inside 60s. They're just firm for now. So I'm not going to touch that. I'd prefer looking at Meta, but even then, this is still pretty inside 60 as well. And the reason that inside bar matters is because you're more likely to get reversals. So for now, we haven't. It went 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 since this outside bar here. But if it goes 2, 2 reversal, it's going to start stopping these guys out in here. So we'll see. We'll see. Sarah wants new high day. Yeah. I want to see this lower high to this stuff. So if yesterday's highs is this level of reclaim, I would like to see them go reversal from that and take these guys out. But that's my preference. May not get it today. The 60s will tell us. But they are pretty inside. Let's see if we can get a count again. How many consolidations are we getting right now? So we go to the 60-minute. We go to current candle at 1. 1,200 of the 1,500 stocks we track are inside. Yeah, this is a whole lot of like weight, right? If you're going to go after anything, it'd be on the 2 up list. So you see it's like Amazon, Google, Charter, Amazon, Google, pretty much Amazon, Google, right? You see Google still pounding them, and Amazon working on it. Do you prefer morning or afternoon trading? As long as it's moving. If it's not moving, you can't trade it. So, like, as long as it's moving, you can go 2-2 down short, 2-2 down, or 2-2 back up, get long. If it goes reversal down, 2-2 down, get short again. Right? You just keep doing that until the until the sun sets. But it has to be moving, or else it's not going to work. Because when things get really tight, and you get these tight broadening formations, like in here. Look at this. 2-2 up, doesn't go anywhere. 3 inside. Goes down, doesn't go anywhere. Goes up, doesn't go anywhere. Goes down, doesn't go anywhere. Right? This is broadening formation stuff. Goes up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Gets bigger. And then they restart again. 3. Goes down, 3. Goes up, comes back in. Slight higher low, 3. And then they finally get out of it. And they rally up into these guys. And that's why we want to be hyper aware when things go inside like this. It's not that you can't trade it. You can. You can see the 15er in here. They are grinding them back up, right? But you have to be aware that you are inside. Because if they were to start coming back and go doji, then they're getting stuck. But right now, you'll see Dow Jones is following through with SPY. And you got simultaneous 30s on the second 60 of the day, SPY and Dow. But exhaustion here is high. As we get into, the last third of the 30. They got a couple more minutes here. So we'll see. Amazon, give me 274.5. Amazon, give me a triangle day out so we can go there. That'd be fun. Mention stops. Stops are fully dependent on the trader and how they're executing. Because some people, preferably, what you'd use is hotkeys. Because what you can do is, what the strat is it's not, this is my breakout and then my stop's down here. That's not the strat. The strat is, this is the breakout. It shouldn't come back. So it breaks up, get in, comes back in, get out. Right? And we do that with a smaller size. And then if it works, right, it breaks up, never comes back, closes here. It's like, okay, now I'm in. When it breaks here, continuation, get more. Press it. Then once it's into the target, then, go after it. That's one of the ways to execute. Another way, some people will just widen it, just a little bit. It'll be down in here or slightly against the lows. And then if we're trading simultaneous breaks, the simultaneous break stop is don't get out unless it reverses. And technically, that's what this was. You'll see flip, it's short here, Dow Jones, hold it till it reverses, which flips here. Then flip it back up because SPY was the short here with the Dow simultaneously. And then you flip it long here because it's simultaneous break back up. So it depends on the trader, which is why we teach you the strat. We don't teach you follow the leader. We can point you to the setup, but you have to manage it yourself or else you shouldn't trade. For now, you see SPY on the 15ers there, walking them up here. Semis is close to the 30s back up. They're running out of time, though. 7 minutes left. Look at GSAT. That's another ripper. Bang. Takes them all out. SPY just rebroke yesterday's highs. So if we look back to the daily, inside day, they tick up, stopping these guys out. Then they go all the way down here, stop all them out. Anyone long yesterday. Then they start coming back. So those guys from yesterday are trying to hop back in, would be the thought process. And since we only got 6 minutes on this 30, what we want to be aware of is that new 30 opening up. Is this buyer, that 60 buyer in here, do they come back to buy more? That's what's important. Because just like this 15. It's like they buy through here, then they come back, then they come back. We want to see them keep coming back if that's actually going to follow through on it. We're still inside 60s, so how is that going to change? You got a lot of distance. SPY made some slight higher highs on the 5-er, comes back in. Interesting. Let's see. So this would still be yesterday's highs, which we'll still consider a reclaim level, but you can see now that goes 225-er. So the reason that would matter is because we're inside 60. Notice those buyers, although they paid up, they were not willing to pay up here, right? So anyone short in the morning gets to stay short, and that 225-er is now, short-term profit taking, but we're still right in the middle. So we look at this, look at the morning highs and the morning lows. So what you want to think is these guys who are short against this stuff, maybe they move their stops down in here, but anyone short into here, they don't have to get out unless we take this out. Because if you're short at this price, this price, this price, right, you could have your stops against that. You'd say we're good. Now, anyone long against low of day, they don't have to get out until we take that out. So we want to use signals to cause things. It's like this 225-er, we're causing the profit taking of these guys, but we're still nowhere near taking out low of day, which is what we want. So we're going to be aware of that. But you can see on the 30, they trigger, they didn't really go anywhere. So they stopped out anyone that was long in the 30s here. Then they reclaim it, which hopefully we can set up the 60 to go back down here. I really want to see it. It's the only reason I'm sticking around. But it's going to keep you inside 60 like this. So still a whole lot of nothing. About 4 minutes till the new 30s open up. Three minutos. How do we know which signal to take? 60 show 322 up, but 15 shows 22 down. You use lower time frame groups to cause higher time frame groups. That's how you know. It's not which signal to take, it's which signal is going to cause something to happen. So if you go on here, right, this inside 5-er, when that breaks down here, it causes anyone long in here on the daily group, right, anyone long today, to get out. So we like to do that. This shooter 5-er here, 2-2 reversal causes the 2-2-30 back through previous range. We're aware of that. But if that goes 225er, what does it cause, or what does it do? It would cause a 30 to go continuation up. By the way, Dow Jones on the 30, they're still good, and that's a stronger one. But it would cause it to continue on the second 30 of the 60-minute. So you could say this fiver causes a continuation, but we want to cause reversals. We want to say this 5-minute causes a reversal because we want losers, and losers have to do something. So like at best, maybe you get fiver here, which causes all this stuff to break, and then we're closer to that daily open. But what I think is this is starting to chop them up just a little bit in here. You see the really tiny broadening formation forming in this stuff. That could be that inside 60. Notice right smack dab in the middle of this. So this is where you get a little bit more risky, a chop, more chop risk for sure. Tech. Oh, I haven't heard the name Tech in forever. I remember back in the day trading that one. This one was a beast. I'm trying to think. I think we played it in here off the pivot machine gun. That was good stuff. Tech. So I actually don't think. Someone clip that. But I don't think. What do I know to be true? This is an outside bar. So there's a broadening formation here on the month. 3 broadening formation goes down, bottom of the broadening formation, comes back in, going back to the other side of the broadening formation. When is this happening? 5 hours till the month ends. All right. So next month, we'll have a 322 with a magnitude of this to go take out 71.26, 1 penny above that. If we're above 62.59, that would happen. Then we have a momentum hammer week that forms in 5 hours. So next week, you have this to cause the month. Notice the weekly signal to cause the month, like we were just saying. Then we go to the day. This is an inside day. So we have the inside day to cause the week to cause the month. Yep, that's what you're looking for. It's exactly what you're looking for. And then we say it used to be somebody a lot higher, but it's already up there. So we're up at all-time highs. I thought we had more range to come back through. But if it's going to show the broadening formation, it would show it up in here. Yeah, so you can see this. So we are at the top of this. We'd be aware of that. But the 322 month, yeah. Send it. And the reason we don't want to think is because the more you think, the worse you're going to do. The more you think, the more your opinion and your subjectivity comes in, and you don't want that at all. Most people, you probably wouldn't even be tuned in if your subjectivity hadn't ruined your trading, right? So you can see inside 30, inside 60 now on SPY, and we're now doji week, little doji on the month, doji on the day. It's like, yeah, we're going to hold off. We're going to hold off on that for now. I'll stick around until the next 60 flip, 27 minutes, and then we'll see what happens from there. Maybe I'll stick around for an hour, and then I'm going to hop off. We can see if you look at SPY, this is something we want to be aware of when this starts happening. Do you see how tight this is starting to get? It goes up, then it goes down, then it goes up, then it goes down, then it goes up, then it goes down, then it goes down, then it goes up, then it goes down, then it goes... my stop loss, right? And maybe we'll talk about some... this is good stuff. I was talking with Premium the other day. Sorry, I didn't look at Premium chat yet. Silver, gold, simultaneous 60s down. Let's see. Oh no, simultaneous 60 gap down buy. I see. Yeah, it's not bad. Right? Is it an inside day though? No, it's not. Not bad. Yeah, you still got 26 minutes on that. Maybe they kick in. But let's look at this. Fix your trading. This is beautiful. This is coming straight from Rob. So you're going to see it's a lot of Rob quotes, but it's good stuff. This is the recovery sequence, right? Stop the bleeding. So stop trading, right? For one. Then diagnose. What's the problem? Then fix your stop mechanics, and then size appropriately, and then focus on a specific setup, and then get to work. And then this is, you can see this is all the stuff, which is pretty neat. So we're not going to go through all these, but a lot of this is really good. So why you keep getting stopped out? And I haven't actually gone through all this yet, so this is work in progress, by the way. But getting stopped out is not the issue. Is the expected costs of a tight stop, because outside bars exist. So the problem is quitting instead of re-entering. And this is Rob's quote here. Second mouse gets the cheese. I think Sarah might have said that a few times as well. But the stop is the test of it's a hypothesis test, right? So it's not just this huge wiggle room. And what we mean by that is based on what we know to be true. Like if we go to Google today and see how it's exploding in here, why are we scanning for that? Why are we pointing you and saying, well, Google and Amazon, this is where you'd want to be? Why are we saying that? Because of what we can know to be true in those guys. Let me show you. And we'll go, how am I missing the chart here? On my grid, I keep losing my stuff on my monitor today. Did I just literally close it out? I might have closed it out. NASDAQ, how you get in at the open? Just watch the stream, go back to the open. We shorted SPY and Qs, but SPY was the same thing though. SPY, you might get the 30s to continue. So they did go 2230 Dow Jones simultaneous with the SPY. Dow firms up, so they're still trying to take out morning highs in the Dow, even though they're inside 60 minute. And then SPY, closer to continuing. Let's see, crowd went inside 30s up, so we pointed out that 15er in here. It took a little bit, but the inside 30 up, that re-triggers the day and reconfirms the day. So we still have this to take out. 193.49, so that's a little firmer in there as well. And it's that weekly open. We want to be above it. So the crowd, that's a really good option for, if you're looking for stronger stuff. Lotto Friday action. It's coming back through a range. When that hammer breaks, you have people who are short in here, and they're being met with a stronger force in the other direction, a buyer going in the other direction. So when that breaks, it should break that, and it should just go, and it should close higher. Especially if you align that with full time frame continuity, and you align it at the bottom, or top of the broadening formation, especially if that's true with hammers and shooters. So when you take an entry, you're testing to see if what we know is true at that point. Because it's not that the strat can be analyzed incorrectly, right? It's just, is it true? Whatever's going on, is it true? Because threes exist. What do threes show us? It's like, well, we could sell at the bid below this, and we could say, well, it's got continuity. We got every reason to believe it's going down. We sell. It doesn't go anywhere. It's like, get me out of this thing. Why? Because whatever we thought was true, there's algorithms hitting the bid, and there's guys, we're going to stop out in here. Whatever we thought about that, it should have gone instantly, and it didn't. So when it starts coming back in here, either flip it, go the other way, or get the heck out of the way. We don't know. And that applies to everything. So we want the tight stop. You should expect it. Expect to get stopped out. That's going to happen. But just don't get out when it's still good, right? And what that means is when you go to stuff, the big stuff, like imagine you take Google this morning, right? And you look at Google and you're like, what do we know to be true Google? Oh, there's my other grid. I was looking for it. Because we want stuff that's above its open. And then it goes inside 15 here. So when that breaks, you have the daily, the weekly, intraday buyers right there. And it's paired with all the guys who got short earlier in the week in the market. So when that breaks, you want it to just go. Now in this one, we actually use a slightly wider stop, like $1. But you just want it to go. And if it does go, it's like hold on to it. 2, 2, 2, slight profit taking. But technically, this is all higher lows in here. It's still good. So when you get a winner, we want to stick around. If we go to SPX, you can see now, new 30s open, they start coming back in. Uh-oh. Right? And we're still below yesterday's highs, levels of reclaim. So if we look left, it's not support resistance, but this is reclaim level right here. We want to go outside day still. That's what I want. That's what I really want. Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. Now, when we look in here, you can see that triangle we were pointing out, how tight it was. Do you see how it gets bigger? Up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, doji, down, up, shooter, shooter, down, down, down. Right, takes these guys out. So notice how it's getting really tiny and then it's getting bigger. That's what's going to happen when you go inside bar. You will restart. So now what we'd say is if we're going to really puke or really move, get outside of this. Right, you want to break out of that. So you can see we have the good morning or the morning triangle in here. It's going to be this really big one. So you have the really big one, and then see how it restarts in here? Tiny little one. This is what an inside bar is. Starting over triangles in there. Broadening formations. How to trade a 1 minute? I'm not going to suggest you trade a 1 minute, but we can look. It looks like this. It looks like everything else. It's always the same. So it goes 2 down, right? Bottom of the broadening formation. If it takes this out, you have 1 minute to go, which means you're always high exhaustion on the 1 minute. Because it'll break, next minute opens, new minute, it's like a new day. And this comes back to, what did we mention yesterday? It was like it was a Bible verse. It's like don't worry about tomorrow, right? Today has enough worries of itself. Tomorrow will worry about itself. That's kind of the gist, right? Same thing's true with trading. Don't worry about the next bar so much. Worry about what's happening right now. It's like this goes inside, then 2 down right there. That's where you'd hit the bid. And then if it breaks this, anyone who stops against this, we want their stops to trigger. And we want to go wham, take them out. And that'd be broadening formation starting to expand there. 3, 2, 5 minute, that's how you know it's an expansion, because the broadening formation is a 3. And where's it going? Back through these guys who are long with stops against this stuff. We can see, bam, and then it's done. That was it, 1 minute. And then 2 down again, they're still selling. All right, let's see if it stays down there below this. And what you want to do, right, is you want to see them stay 2. You don't want a 2 that starts coming back in. You want a 2 that stays 2. So we look right here on the day, selling today, selling this week, selling this month technically. And then the 60 minute, retesting right yesterday's highs, or that daily reclaim level that we were talking about this morning. So now we have 1, 3, 1 forming. We got 17 minutes. Does it go 1, 3, 1, 2 down, right? And that'd be big puker outside day. Or does it go 1, 3, 1, 2 up? That's going to be our next question in about 17 minutes. But if we go back to the 1 minute, right, you can see it ticks down. Then it starts coming back in. Uh-oh, 2 going 3. This is the bottom of the triangle. Do you see it? The big broadening formation, it goes wham, right? So when that went green, that mattered for sure. For sure that mattered. And then there's your outside bar, and then new 1 minute opens. Now what? You see? This is why we don't want to trade the 1 minute. Every bar is a new thing. Versus every day, right? Because at least you have all day to go after it. This is why we want big time frame stuff. Like we want this on SPY. We want 2 down, 2 up month. We want that because that goes this month and the next and the next and the next and the next and the next, right? And then new broadening formation here, down, up, down, reversal month here in April, and then the next and then the next, right? You see what I mean? So I'm not going to teach you to trade 1 minute stuff. You can. I'm not saying you can't, but month, week, day 60. That's where you want to start. If you look at crowd is working its way up, changes the day back to green, setting up the inside 60 minute. It's about evidence. Don't you want trades that work? I do. You can trade it. I'm not saying you can't trade it. I'm just saying we want evidence. I want every reason to believe it should work. Like, can you trade this, right? Right when it starts coming back, it's like, wham, coming back through, reversal, wham, wham, wham. It's taking all these guys out, right? You can trade that, sure. You just saw how we, two down, two down. It starts going three right there when that goes green. Just coming back in, two up, two up. Takes these guys out. You can do that, but that makes it a lot trickier. And the only time you're going to look at a 1 minute is when you already looked at the month, the week, the day, and then you're like, this is the reason I'm looking at the 1 minute now. Because I know if this works on the 1 minute, it's going to trigger the 30-60, which triggers the day. And then it's full time frame continuity on the big time frames. Therefore, I'm going to use the 1 minute and I'm going to go do battle. It's the only time it makes sense. So you can use it, but you have to use those big time frames first to earn the right to do that. Amazon, you had the 15er. Come on, Sarah. Should have told me about that fiver. 278.56 up there. Fluna. Thank you guys for tuning in today. I'm only ever going to give you guys things that I would use myself. So I'm going to recommend you guys, if you haven't heard about Trade Funded yet, this is going to be my little 20-second thing. Trade Funded is a new firm that's coming. So anyone that does trade prop accounts and trade futures, highly recommend go join their Discord and get ready, because they are going to remove every rule, pretty much from funded trading. All the ones that you hate, they're going to get rid of them. And I will be honest, I have invested in them. Like, I have a small 1% share of the company, but only because they came to me and they're telling me about it. And I was like, this is going to solve all the stupid scammy crap in the prop firm stuff. So that's coming out soon. It's going to be within the next couple months. But it's Trade Funded on Twitter is where you can find them. And I can't wait. They allow you to do algorithmic trading. You can copy however many accounts you want, trade however many accounts you want. Doesn't matter. It's going to be a new way to do it, which will be really neat. Look at SPX. You see this? We're just looking at those oneers, right? 3 comes back into the triangle. 2, 2, 2. Stop them out. 2 to reversal right there. Back into the triangle. 2, 1. And does it go 2 again and bring these guys back through here? And you can see you can get destroyed if you're if you're trading in here and you don't know it's inside 60, you're getting demolished, right? Go to a 15 minute. But Alex, it reversed down and then it reversed up. What? The strat doesn't work. No, you're trading inside 60. You're getting destroyed because you don't know the strat yet. Trade Funded. It's trade_funded on X. Yeah. Well, the thing that's even more exciting, I don't even know how much I'm allowed to say. I'd have to look at my NDA here. But the really exciting thing is they want you to be a good trader. And that's why, as an investor, I'm excited, because it's literally going to take the capital of the fund and find the best traders to trade it. And obviously that's a really good business model for a prop firm. But it's even better for the traders, because if the prop firm makes money from winning traders, the prop firm can pay out dividends to their traders, kind of as a paycheck almost, that's not relying on your trading per se, just relying on how many accounts you have. And I can't confirm or negate if that's going to be a thing, or confirm or deny if that's going to be a thing. But that's the stuff you can do if you have a firm that makes money, So I'm really excited. And they've got such smart people running this stuff. Amazing. The guys who built the prop firm industry, however, over a decade ago, same guys building that one. It's they started it all, which is pretty cool. I'm happy I got the opportunity. Copy trade Alex and Sarah. Yeah, well, the thing I'm most interested in is trading single stock futures because the main reason we don't, and I'm not gonna say we don't trade futures, but the main reason we look for stocks is mostly because we have more evidence. Like the guys trading futures, you're looking at four assets. When we're looking at stocks, we're looking at the futures, then we're looking at the sector ETFs, and then we're looking at all the holdings in the sector ETFs, and then we're looking at the stock, which means we have way more evidence. So single stock futures, that means when we have every reason to believe, the communication sector is going up, we can go to Meta or we can go to, Google or whatever company it is, and we can go play that with the leverage futures. It'd be really fun. That being said, so we're going to see a lot of inside 60s, right? It's kind of take your pick, but Dow Jones, Qs, SPY, everything inside there. IWM, Crowd, just firmer, and then Meta inside. Google's still firmer, but you got that buyer exhaustion at the highs. We'll see tech and semis inside. So Marvell's going to be inside, SNDK's inside. And notice these inside 60s, we told you 50 minutes ago this is probably going to close inside, right? How many stocks did that? 1,100 of the 1,400 stocks we tracked. 1,100 of them. And that's what we call selling options during the day if you're going to do that. Because we pretty much knew, right? Now, when we look at semis, they're weaker. They're taking the 30s down with 8 minutes to go. So these guys are a little weaker here. Marvell taking them down, MU taking them down. We pointed out that inside 15 or MU, it's working its way down. It's just very slow. Still inside. SNDK setting them up to go 230s. NVIDIA is taking them inside 60. So you can see NVIDIA, look at this triangle layout. This is what you look for. Triangle up, triangle down, triangle up, inside bar, right there. Anytime below this stuff, 8 minutes, yeah, we want that. But they're already kind of going for it with 8 minutes to go on the 30s. So that is what we see. While they do that, notice they're buying staples. So what are they doing? Rotating into staples, right? Go to utilities. What are they doing? They're buying a little bit of Utes, buying a little bit of financials. They're buying some healthcares. So notice it's rotation, it's not crash. And what that means is the SPX put, maybe, right? You're more likely to get Qs to do it just because it doesn't have all those staples and healthcares and utilities in it. Or at least it doesn't have as much, right? There's some of those technology healthcare company type things in there. But you're more likely to get the Qs to do it for you. And I like NVIDIA too. We can use that to cause the month to break, which technically we want it to stay inside for the last day of the month, but it looks like it's going to break it. You can see SPY though, the triangles. See that one triangle, how it got bigger over time? You're already learning the strat, right? Goes up, goes down, goes up right there, ticks them up, starts bringing them back down into here, chopping them up. And we knew that was going to be the case. Qs outside day, ideally. So if we look at Qs, just gauge that magnitude. Ideally, we go inside here, 1, 3, 1, 2, and then we go wham, right? Take all these guys out. I don't know if we're going to get them all the way down here, but we'll see. Since I'm not going to trade IWM, I'm going to remove it. But if I had a ringer, or if I had a big triangle on my desk like Rob did, I would be ringing the shit out of it. I'd be like, ring, 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 ring. You got 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And the reason we know that is because a 2's coming. Anytime you have a scenario 1, inside bar, you get a 2 next. And it might take a while, but in this case, we're probably going to get it right away on Qs. And then we'll see if SPY and whatnot want to do it too. Stan Dollar, nice to see you. Yep, NVIDIA, they're still kicking them in. Q's bringing them in. So if you look at semis, you can see the triangle in there that you'd want to be playing off of, right? Inside bar, gauge your magnitude. It'd be down here, 47 points in SMH. Wow, on a Lotto Friday, that's a gift. You don't get that every day. So we know if that works, right? Wow. Do you hear that? That's the triangle ringing on my software here. It's like, look, 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 don't miss it. The 530 puts in SMH are trading at like nothing. Nothing. They're $1. So 530 put SMH, that might be a good Lotto Friday pick. Oh my goodness. Are we serious? How are they trading at $1? Are we serious? That just doesn't even make sense to me. Wow. What? You can see SPY forming the Momentum Shooter 60. Oh, baby. Rub your hands together and say, yup. You guys ready for this one? I'm ready for it. NVIDIA's almost going to ruin it just before the 60s open up or close out here, which is a shame. It's that 30. You can see how that 30 kicked in here. And that'll happen, and it has to do with, how big that 30 was. It had enough guys in there. It went up 1%, so those guys had to get out. So they're getting pretty close to breaking that. Hopefully they don't. We want to see these 3 minutes. Say a prayer. We can see SPY, green to red, so anyone long in here. You got that reclaim level retest here to the penny almost. 3 minutes. And when things happen matters. So if you're like, I'm just going to get short early because this and this and that, it's like, well, the time to do that would have been on the 30. So I don't want you to get in here and be like, oh, in 3 minutes, then I'm just going to get it now. No. Because exhaustion is high once you get to the end of the bar, right? If you're going to take the 30 down, you could have done that as a 30-60 guy. But I wouldn't want you doing something here. It doesn't make any sense. If we look at crowd, they're still firm there. So we're ready both ways, right? And with simultaneous breaks, the way they work, you got 2 minutes, so we got enough time to help you guys understand this. But a simultaneous break works like this. 5 minutes before the hour closes, stock and 60 futures run open to open, 9:30, right, 10:30, etc. So we check all 4 indexes. If one or more is an hour inside candle, you have this set up the moment the bar closes, the equilibrium is set. The inside bar high and low are the triggers, nothing to predict. So what you look for is this, right? Once you see them all go inside like that, you just wait. And once they close out, what you want to see is they break at the same time. Now, what else matters is if it doesn't work, we know rev strats exist, right? So if you look in here, if everything goes inside down and then starts going back the other way, it's like take it short, didn't work, all right, come back, and then the next hour, take it the other way and see if it works the other way. So we do both. Hopefully we just go inside down and just get demolished, because when we look at these, if we go to the week, Dow red on the week, Q's red on the week, SPY red on the week. They're all red on the month too, besides Dow is just slightly green. The day, bright reds, Q's, right? So give us an outside day Q's and NVIDIA and semis, right? And then 60. So if we go 60 down, what do we know is true? Full time frame continuity, full gas pedal down, right? That's something we'd want to know. While they do that, crowd is ripping, so we'll see if that kicks in. But that would be full gas pedal down, Qs, SPY, semis, NVIDIA, all of it all together. So we'd have no reason to believe that shouldn't work, especially if they all break at the same time. So we are prepared. We got 28 seconds, and then we're good to go. Mash the like button. Thank you. Can it go further than outside day? Yeah. Well, we have the last day of the month here. Funds rebalance on this day. So it's worth noting we could get a lot more volume, a lot more aggressive and forced flows today than we would normally get. But here's the flip. And remember, a simultaneous break is a break. It's not simultaneous everything go inside and then I do something. Nope. It's simultaneous break. They all have to break. So right away, look at Dow is inside, Q's inside, SPY inside, Semi's inside, crowd inside. Right? We're not touching that yet. Waiting. And the way the breaks work, the last one to break has the highest evidence. So if you're the first one in, you're also going to be the first one out if it's not simultaneous break. So we'd like to make sure we get them all going at the same time if they're going to do it. And it fully has to do with the willingness of these sellers to sell down. So SPY might be first here on the momentum. And we want to be aware when we're looking here, momentum shooter, that's supposed to just go, technically speaking. Should just break and not come back. And it's the first one. So we look at Dow, it's nowhere near breaking. Q's still not breaking. Semi's still not breaking. So technically, I don't know yet. That's the first one though. And the reason that would matter, that none of these other ones break, is it shows you it's just them in SPX. It's not them selling everything, which is what we're looking for. So you see it ticks down, didn't go right away. The second that comes back in, potential outside bar, right? That would change what's going on. So the second that goes green, changes what we know here, but these are all still inside. So they're all still doing nothing over here. And we still really prefer the downside. I really want the downside. For good reason. Let's take a look at IWM since we don't have it. NVIDIA is getting pretty close to taking them down. And NVIDIA, kind of like that SPY this morning on the 30, has the pivot machine gun to speed them up down into 192.63. Let's see. In short term, this is what I want to do. I want to show you these 60s. So if you look in here, SPY might re-break that, but gosh, it's a little laggy. One sec. So look at the 60s so we can count. And we can see you have a few up in the hack ETF, which would be like your crowd setting up. And then biotechs, genomics, airlines, discretionary, some materials going down. So it's still, you can see pretty much nothing, right? Pretty much nothing. It's like some up, some down. We want to see the whole sector break at the same time. And the reason we're looking for that is because what a simultaneous break is when you get inside bar, it shows you buyers and sellers agree on price. So if a whole sector goes inside bar, like the semis, and then breaks out the low of that, it shows you in institutions going in there and selling at the bid right after everything went inside bar. That would be all of them breaking out at the same time with an institutional order hitting it. And if you align that through pivots, right, it should drop like a rock. So that's why we need them to all break at the same time. It's not, well, if this one breaks and the rest don't, like it might still work. It's like, no, we need everything to go. For now, biotech seem to be the guys doing it. NTLA, CRISPR going inside 60s down. But even then, it's only like 40% of their sector. We want like 80%. That's what we want. Some of the Bitcoin miners, CORZ, APLD, 312's down. So we're seeing a little bit of selling kick in there. NVIDIA is about to kick in just now. Q's is about to kick in. Yep. It's go time, boys and girls. It's just got to go. And we're starting to get a little bit more. So you can see in robotics, right now we got Amazon, 2 up, 2 down reversal, Nokia, VPG, AEVA. So we got a few of those guys kicking in. We still want to we want more. Right? If we go to Bitcoin miners, see a lot of these fired, but we still have all these inside bars that got to break. If we go to semis aren't even on the list yet because they're not in force. So it's getting super close. And if we go to SMH and just pull up the whole bracket, where is it? Sector analysis. So you can see if we go right now, we just filter and we go 2s down. You can see Marvell, NVIDIA, SMH is inside, but ASML. So there's only 3 that went 2 down. If we go to filter and we go to 1, yeah, all of these that are still a 1. So notice they sold a little bit, but we want to get them all to break. And so far they're inside at this point. So Qs went slight 2 down. None of the semis broke besides NVIDIA. Crowd is closer to 2 up, which would be firmer. So if you're going to buy anything, we want to buy the 2 up. If SPY's going outside bar, we'd want to get this, ideally. So if we drop down, we can see on the second fivers, they go 2 2s, which is changing what's going on here, changing what is going on NVIDIA, and all the other semis are still an inside bar. So this is attempting to go with 3. And if we go to the 60-minute, Dow Jones still did not break, so industrials is firmer than SPY and Qs. If we go to IWM, that went slight tick down, nowhere near getting out of this. Comes back in, so this one's stuck in the middle a bit. Crowd breaks 2s to the upside. I got this one on the 30, so I'm going to try and add on the 60. So for now, if we look at the semis, we got a ton of double inside bars, which you can see a little clearer like this. The video goes 2 down, semis is still a 1. AMD still a 1, AVGO still a 1. So all of these 1s are still 1-ing. We need that to change. For now, Q's slight tick down goes green, trying to go 3. SPY, slight tick down, green, trying to go 3. And then crowd's going to be stronger. The ideal targets in crowd are what? 193.49, 191.22. SPX on the 2 going 3 in here. And you can see, and this is super important, right? It ticks down, but the second that's green, we know it's attempting to go 3, and that is paying. Because now we're starting to really take them out. If we go back to that 5er triangle, you see how this really small one in here turned into the much bigger one. So we did not get the move down that we would have liked to see, but we're close to getting that 3 up in here. And if we go to crowd has to be stronger because it did not go 2 down. So this is what we can see at this point. And if we look, exhaustion right now is low. So we got 50 minutes on this hour. So notice how green this is. This matters because green tends to get greener, red tends to get redder. Now, could that change? Maybe, but you're nowhere near changing at this point. So 50 minutes, if we were going to have a bar that closes up, 80 points or something, it might look like that 10 minutes in. I'm not saying that has to happen, but what this shows you is you do have time, right? So if we're not already in there or we're just holding off, that's okay. But what if we set up a new signal, like we go inside fiver or something? We might be able to take that fiver to cause something to happen here and cause this outside bar. So we can see they went 2-2 fiver here for 5 minutes and then boom, 1. So do they become a 2 again? Reconfirming, and that 2 would probably cause it to go outside 60. Or do they stay 1? You can see Q's goes inside, NVIDIA goes inside, IBM, SPY. But they're all closer to becoming a 2. That was an FU move. Was it? Oh no. No, we're good. So we can see right now, IBM, Q, SPY go inside fiver. So what's the next 2? This could go either inside, or it could go 2-2 down, if they're getting really red here, which could re-break the 60, which is the direction we prefer. Or we could go inside down, which should be inside signal down, which could re-break the 60. So what is the next 2 here on the fibers? What does it do? And if we go to those semis, they go green. Again, they're still double inside. So like we were saying before, you don't have to be the first one in, right? If everything's a 1, you don't have to do anything yet. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, all these guys. But what if they break down? That could change what we know is true. So we're still not out of the woods yet as far as we're concerned, because of all those semis that still have yet to break. And if we look at semis, they went 2s down on the fibers, but we're going to see them still double inside 60. So that's got to break all these guys ideally. So if you look right now, it's what, 2 down, MU, NVIDIA, Marvell. So those guys are the ones that have already initially broken in the semis. If you look at all the fibers in the semis, all the fibers are red. So they are selling all the semis, but they're all inside right now for the most part. So they still have yet to change it. So in about 50 seconds, SPY will be inside bar. Maybe Q's forms and hammer. We'll see. The 60s were still 2 down, slightly green on the Qs, still 2 down green on SPY, which is closer to trying to go outside bar here. And then crowd goes inside fiber at the highs as well. So maybe they go triangle out and stop these guys out off of that. Still not the easiest one, just because we have so many inside bars still in all those semis, which are, the bigger mover of the market here. in 2026. So we need those twos to break. And I imagine the same thing is probably true in technologies. Yeah, tons of inside 60s and XLK as well. All right, here's the next flip. Of the new fivers, and this is second 15 of the 60. So if it goes fivers up, SPY, that would go at fiver, 322 to 15. And if not, it's going to be inside 15, just right in the middle, and inside fiver. NVIDIA might have the fiver to re-break the 60 down, which would be ideal if we could get those semis to break out. So you can see right now, if we're just zoomed in, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Nothing going on yet. The hack ETF is still firmer as an inside 60 and up. Oops. Dow Jones, we see Microsoft 60s 2 to the upside. We see UNH goes inside 60 up, pivot machine gun style on the 60s. CRM is going inside 60 up with Amgen inside 60 up, Triple M going inside 60 up. So they're buying some Dow Jones names. That's about all I see. NVIDIA does take the fiver inside down if they're going to try and re-break those 60s. However, we still got all those semis inside that got to change. The semis are attempting to get those 60s down. A lot of them are just inside fibers. That's got to take them out. And you can see if we look in here, right? SMH, closer to 2 down fiber to take all this out. Same with NVIDIA. Fiver's trying to take this out. QCOM trying to take all this out. So we still want to see that happen. Just needs to happen, right? All of them are a 1. We don't want to run out of time either. So we're already about 17 minutes into the 60. They've yet to do much. Now you got ARM taking the 60 down, MU's taking the 60 down. Looks like ARM is the only one they're willing to sell into new low a day at this point. Iran is doing very poorly. Iran is doing very poorly. Iran's doing very poorly. Iran has been dishonest to deal with. Why does he repeat it so many times? Let's see. Is that just now? Today at 10:45 a.m. Please send it, sir. Do you think he's repeating it all those times because he doesn't want the market to go down? Because it sure seems that way. Just based on what we know is true, we should, like, I'm surprised we don't see this stuff kicking in, to be honest. Got a lot of inside fibers, which might be able to do something, but see what the futures are looking like. Futures are kind of still stuck right in the middle of this, and you can see how it's getting bigger. If you look at that internal formation, this inside fiber, maybe they could take them out down here, which would help try and get things to puke, but this is the internal formation we got to get outside of. So this high and this low, which is going to line up with that inside 60 levels on SPY, this high and this low here. Qs, you can see they go inside up. Semis goes 225 or up, so they firm up still inside 60s in those guys. But that's Qs trying to go outside 60. SPY takes the fibers inside up as well, trying to go outside 60. There's an emergency going on after a strike near the nuclear site. Ooh. I wonder what the emergency is. Do you think the market's going to care about that? I wonder. If it's bad for the Americas and the market's going to care, what we'd want to see is go 3 and then go like this, because then we could get everyone long, everyone stopped out first, and then hit it back through that stuff if that's going to matter. Or even just slight higher highs to this and then back through. So there's your inside fiber. Boom. SPX options, they go 30% on a fiber. Crowd, you might have the rev strat, which would be firmer. It just hasn't broken yet. Come on, SPX, give us that outside 60 now on the fiber. Are they willing to do it? They're so close. We've only got a minute left on that fiber, so they're getting close to the end of it. They move a little bit, but we're still inside of that and that, which is not what we were looking for today. See, healthcares are firm, taking out the morning highs. Staples are taking them out. Financials are taking them out to the morning highs. Real estates, they went reversal. So it's a lot of just the blue chip kind of more defensive sectors. Semis are just consolidating. So, There's a nice Amazon triangle down there. Come on, SPY, 20 seconds to finish them out. Do it. The crowd takes the RevStrat 5er up, confirming that 60s, so I still got the 60s up in relative strength in crowd. They're pennies away from taking it out on SPY to give that outside bar. Have some put lottos in case of disaster news. If we're going to get them to really puke, I want to see them triangle out again. We go on crowd. We still have 32 minutes on crowd to take out the morning highs with that weekly green, so it's stronger than the rest of the market. Here it is on SPY, 2 up again on the 5er. So here it is, inside 5er to cause the outside 60, and should just take them out. Come on. Here, just barely. Futures chat, let's see. Did we get rid of futures chat or do we still have it? Sarah wants a new high a day. Come on, inside 5er. Just about to complete right there. There it is. So we go to the 60. We can see it did become a 2. None of the semis broke besides, what, NVIDIA and maybe 2 others. When that goes green, the second that's green, we know outside bars exist. So it's coming back through here. And even if you didn't time it quickly, you hit the bid and then flip it long to go back through here. We had the inside 5er there to cause it. Right there. And like we said on the 60, now 30 minutes. If something's going to go up, 70 points in 1 hour, it tends to go up really fast at the beginning of the hour. So now the question is, do you hold that level? 7, 4, 5, 3, 70. Because if you hold that, that is the level of defense. This is a rev strat that's in force with a magnitude here, 7, 4, 8, 9, 11 on the SPX. But if you reclaim that, this is another broadening formation that's still, the broadening formation is still active, right? This one here goes up, down, up. If it comes back in, they might get their money back, and you'll know shorting in here, back through here. For now, semis, you can see still not really recovering this at all. So what I'd prefer still, because we have continuity down, I want the gap up sell. I know Sarah wants to get the Ripper going on the 60s. But for now, if that level holds 7, 4, 5, 3, or was it 7, 4, 5, 3, 70, that would be your level if you're going to go rippy. But I can't make that happen. I don't know if it's gonna. I want to go bam through these guys myself. And if that were to happen, right? Ideally, we don't short the SPX. We want stuff like NVIDIA where it can take that 60 back down, which would be weaker. But we'd have to see 5ers in here to cause that to happen. So, not yet. Here it is. They close above the level, so buyers are willing to pay up there. And that'd be your level of defense, right? Stay above that and you get that rippy mode. If you don't, then you don't. And when we look at semis and Qs, NVIDIA, they're still kind of just flat, not really doing that much. If I pull up the sector stats here, we can get a rough idea of what's going on. Where is it? Here. Uh-oh. Here it is, SPY, still above that level, holding. You can see NVIDIA does perk up a little bit with the semis and Qs. Qs is still not an outside bar. But now they are starting to pick up just a tiny bit in those semis, which will help out since we already have. I wanted to get that to show that to you. For some reason, my simultaneous break is gone. But if we look right now, industrials, healthcare, Dow Jones, tech, hack ETF, home builders, you can see all these twos up. On the downside, you do still have some, is your Bitcoin miners. APLD still down, BTDR, Cypher, cores, right? So this is where the short's happening, the miners and the, what do you want to call it? I imagine IREN and stuff. Yeah, right here, IREN, so it's probably your quantums too. But we can see in the healthcares, right, all these guys taking them out to the upside from their broadening formations, so that's going to help your Dow Jones. You can see industrials, they're almost buying every industrial, so it's still just kind of rotation into some of those more boring blue chip type stocks. But you'll see General Dynamics takes out the highs almost, RTX, all the defense companies, NOC, LMT, etc. So right now we definitely have the most twos going up, and if we go to the Dow, you can see in the Dow Jones, what, Boeing, Amgen, Triple M still in force. So it's kind of just, the blue chip stocks, and they don't tend to go crazy with those. At least they haven't in recent history. So it's still kind of hard to say that you're going to have this huge rally just because of how much tech and semis are a part of the market, right? They're a very, very important part. So you can say rotation to blue chips and out of Bitcoin miner WGMI stocks. And that's kind of the gist from that inside bar. You can see if you go to the quantums, inside down QUBT, which is like a penny stock at this point, QBTS, barely. So the question for the rest of the day, since they were unable to break those equilibriums here, is how are you not going to be mother bar, right? Semis, 311, didn't break. High of day and low of day, if you can't take that out, price discovery is getting tighter and it's going to restart in here, get really tight. So how is that not going to be inside would be the question. Now, NVIDIA is a 2 going 3, so at least has that, but it's still mother bar stuck inside the morning 60. So that's going to be trickier. And we look at SPX, this is still mother bar, well stuck inside of the morning 60. If you go to Qs, this is still a mother bar issue, well stuck inside of this. Since it's the end of the month, rebalancing, they may not stay in there, but you want to be aware of that because that means your broadening formations are going to be drawn out like they are in here. So you want to stay up there. You don't want to see them pulling back into this stuff below here. Because if they do that, since you're stuck in the middle, they might just wipe everyone out again. And they might do that again and again. And they could really get nuts in there. So just be aware of that. But we can now see Qs. They're trying to go outside and just this mother bar. Man, how are we getting out of that? We take a look at the hack ETF names. You can see PanW. So this would be that subsector of tech that is going up. KLYS, Gen. And we can gauge that magnitude. So if we look in here, you see Gen has the hammer up into this. It's kind of small stocks, but PanW, they've been a lot higher. You got this huge pivot machine gun. So later in the day, PanW, if you can take out those morning highs up in here, that would get that outside bar actually resolving higher, and that could squeeze some guys out into that pivot machine gun. That'd be good. Outside of that, it's like these even still have a lot of mother bar issues to take out besides Gen. Home builder stocks. Yeah. Nah. SPY, you can see he goes 225, so they start dropping back in a little bit. That's something you want to be aware of. I'd want to hit NVIDIA if we could do it. We're just running out of time. Look at this. We got 24 minutes left on the 60s. So could they wrap them up and sell in the last 20 minutes? Maybe. But that's meh. Not what we were looking for. You see SPY, so they're starting to drop back into that just a little bit. Crowd, after making the slight high here, they also took some profit. But is that going to change the 60 down in here? Maybe, right? Since they reclaimed, they could. But you got a lot of distance to change that. So the buyers don't have to get out. And that's part of why when things happen is going to matter. Now, if those buyers are going to be forced to get out, you'd want to see this go 2 down, 2 down, 2 down, and then really take them out down in here. Bitcoin miner stuff, APLD is almost low a day now. Core is almost low a day. IREN's taken out the lows. Riot. So these guys are weaker. Well, there's just slight fivers. Not much to really say. This is what Sarah wants to see this. She wants the slight lower lows, and she wants this 2-2 back up into this stuff. She wants to see this break out of the triangle and go into the morning highs. Which is possible, but that fiber's got to kick in and actually go wham right through them. And you'd want to see Qs and semis do that too to help you out. VIX come back to... Well, it's not the... Let's go to the VIX. I guess, yeah, it was at like 20 earlier in the week, so they did take them down. The major part of this is that we have this, we're stuck in here. This high of day, this low day. Like we said in the morning, it's like when you're in here, this is where it's going to restart because anyone short has stops against this stuff. Anyone long has stops against this stuff. So they don't have to do anything. So it goes up and the guys who are short are like, eh. Then it goes back down. The guys who are long are like, eh. Then it goes up and the guys who are short, they're like, now I might have to start getting out of that. Right? If they start breaking this out and exploding through here, might make them change their mind a little bit about it. But until we can take this out, they're not forced to do something. We want them forced. And then once they're forced, even if the VIX is low, if we can take that out, this broadening formation, come back through this range of guys who are short, then we could have, Sarah wants the big ripper. Then we might be able to get like, what, 40 more points above high day? But how are we going to make that happen? Thought I was holding to outside hour, but it sold early on my TOS. That sucks. Technology, right? Well, if it's really going to go, right, you can always get back in. You can use those lower time frames, but I'm wanting the downside. Yeah, I do too. But I don't know if we're going to get it. Right now, that hammer fiber kicks in, that RevStrat 30 or RevStrat 60 is still happening. So look at SPY. You can see that 60 is still in force for another 18 minutes. They are starting to try and kick out of that with that hammer fiber. And this would be that level they have to break out of right up in here. What, 7459. Because what that does is it takes anyone that was shorting in here and putting their stops up there, and it starts drifting away from their position, and they start getting forced to do stuff in there. But if not, then you're still bouncing around with this. So it's got to get outside of the broadening formation. For now, they're still just grinding across the top. Healthcare's goes high days, so they're buying some healthcares, but that's really about it. Little industrials. You see Amazon after that nice triangle layout, ripping back up through here. So Amazon's still much firmer than the rest of the market. Google, same thing. They had the nice little triangle out in here, and they're still working their way back up. So these guys are where it's better because notice, trying to buy Qs, it's below its daily open. Trying to buy Google, still above its daily open. So this is corrective against the daily guys, which helps out. And that's hopefully going to help out the SPY if they're going to try and get out of this, which they're trying to right now again. And I want this one to be drawn and just stay there. So you can draw right to left. I'll make sure that's locked in, because this is that inside 60 broadening formation. So if you can get out of that, that's the break of that inside bar. Semi's working on a 3x inside bar. Inside 15er. Oh, wow. Yeah. Eventually, someone's got to pay up or sell down, right? So eventually, 1, 1, 1. It's going to become a 2 eventually, but not yet. We got about 15 minutes here, last 15 minutes of the 60. So you see they're kind of just grinding into the highs, and either this buyer is willing to step up, which for now, you see they're willing to pay up above the previous 60 highs. So yeah, they're willing to step up. But yeah, 15 minutes. So they're either going to keep doing that or we're going inside and I'm going to see some just kind of bouncing around in here. We want that to stay too if you're trying to get that to break out of here. And then in about 14 minutes here, that 60 is going to close out. So you're going to have a 2-hour inside bar Qs, 2-hour inside bar semis as double inside, 2-hour inside bar NVIDIA, right? And then anything else that looks like this stuff, it's like multiple hours stuck inside. So it's how are we getting out of that? That's still the question. And because of those inside bars, it's a mess. You'll see SPY goes 2-2 back down, so they're going to take profit. They're coming back in. And if you look at SPX on the 30, you can see it a little clearer. 3, 3 goes up, and then just sits right here. Can we move already? Well, when things happen matters. We got 12 minutes until the new 60 flip, which can flip, or it can 3-2 break out and try and confirm this stuff. And if it goes 3-2, that would be what's probably going to cause that morning high to break. See SPY, they go slight 2 down, slight 2 up, still right up in here. Working on that 60, trying to set up in about, 9 minutes here. So we can see if we look at the fivers here, this hammer fiver kicked in and did what it was supposed to, taking that out, but now it's starting to drift. And if we can think about participation groups, right? Anyone that was selling in here aggressively, they're part of that group, right? The sellers in here. So when we're above this and we start drifting away, some of these people, right, they're not day traders, right? They're thinking longer term. But as it drifts away from them, they get forced to do things because they still sold down in here. So this fiver is now forcing these guys into a further loss if they have not yet gotten out. And as it's doing that, we still have these guys who are short from the morning, potentially against this stuff anywhere in here. So we're at the daily open here on the SPX. If we go back to the 60-minute, you can see 2. We thought it was going down, didn't work. Starts going green, 3. And then the break of this is that TheStrat with the fiver changes the day to green. So now SPX is above its daily open. We'll see semis isn't, Qs isn't. So this is why we're looking here instead. And that will show you things like Google, high of day. Triangle layout, still above its daily open, had to be stronger while the SPX recovered. Then Amazon, still above its daily open, had to be stronger while the SPX recovers to its daily open. So now, are they going to be able to drift up into here? We only got 5 minutes left on the 60, so exhaustion is getting higher here. But pretty nice move just on the break of 7,453. It's up 13 points, and on the SPX options, that can be pretty good. Now, what we want to see in 5 minutes, can it go 3-2? Because we want to see them come back to buy more if they're going to reconfirm this. And actually, if we look left on the SPY, if we're going to take this out again, 7,480, and if we're going to try and take this, 7,526, we'll have to find out. Now, we would still say that we're within that morning broadening formation, or we're stuck inside that morning range until we can break the high out, which is why that next flip's going to matter in about 4 minutes. And you can see how this fiver kicks in for 5 minutes, and then right on the flip, boom, profit taking, because that signal is done. But it goes inside as retracement. So We will find out. Qs is still not a 3. Semis, you'll see, is still double inside. Tech is double inside with the semis, so none of that's really changed. You can see Qs in the final hour with less than 3 minutes to go here. They're just almost going to do it. They're so close. Slight 2 by 14 cents. They're 11 cents from becoming a 3. And there it is, Qs. They finally become a 3, taking them out. And you'll see how that completes the broadening formation. A 2 that rejects becomes 3. Then once a 3, always a 3 can't not be, which means this whole range is a broadening range, taking out the highs, the lows, and then the new highs. So in order for this to really get moving on the next flip, you need to break out of that and stay 2. Because if you come back into a 3, we know you test the other side, just like in that 60 reclaims, tries to test the other side. So that is going to be the question. Now, when we look at SPY, since it's already green on the day, that's more likely to take this out, 7, 4, 8, 9, and then right on the flip, 2 on the 5-er, reconfirm. So we go to the 60. Whatever algorithm was told to buy above this, 7, 4, 2, 5, right on the flip, they're still there. They're still there on Qs as well. And NVIDIA, you can see, becomes a 2. Semis becomes a 2 to the upside. Technologies becomes a 2. So they all simultaneously break. That's what we wanted to see the first time. We didn't see it, but now we're starting to see it, in this case, to the upside. The only thing that kind of sucks here is we're mother bar. And the whole reason we wanted to break down is because we were closer to doing that. Now breaking up, we're still nowhere near taking these guys out on Qs. So he's got to be aware, it becomes a 2, yes. But if it starts coming back in, there's a 3 right there. That's a broadening formation. So we want to be very, very hyper aware of that. And if you don't know why that would matter, this is why, right? It's lower low, higher high. If it comes back in, they did it once, they might do it again. They made higher highs and lower lows here and higher highs here. If that starts falling back into these guys, they could take this out again, which we don't want to see. We're going to get that simultaneous 2 to stay. So we want to see them stay up there if they're going to do it. And we can take a quick peek at the strat scanner numbers that we got here. For now, it's all simultaneous 2, and it's staying 2, so this is looking good. At least on SPX, I want to see that happen so we can step away here. Here it is. So we look in here, unlike before, where we didn't really have any 2s on those tech and semis, look now. Might take a second, so we'll monitor these for a sec while that loads. Now look at this. Semis, 16 to the upside. Robotics, 15. Solars, drones, technologies, uranium, jets, right? So you can see broad buying. This is what we want to see, because this is the type of buying that continues if they got more to buy. So if we go in here, you can see inside up AMAT, AMD, ASML, AVGO, right? And then we just want to see them stay too, because if they're going to close up a few percent, they would close above these highs here. So if we look at 517, that's the fill, 491.39, 16. And this is, just the 60 break. But now we have a lot more 2s in those semis than we did before. We're still going to be aware since these are mother bar, right? AMD is still nowhere near the highs. They do have a higher risk of becoming 3 just because of that fact, the fact they're stuck in the middle. But simultaneous 2s, we want to give them, or we prefer to give them the benefit of the doubt when we see them all going in one sector. If we go to robotics, you'll see similar, right? Look at this. Pretty much the whole sector. Now we got like a third of it, give or take, that isn't going. You see AMBA, looks like news just came out with those guys, so they they really pounded them on the rev strat here. Up 10 points in a few minutes here. That's pretty nuts, right? Look at that. And we could have taken that, but so be it. Da-da-da-da-da. Let's see. Teradyne, Serve. So maybe that one's dragging up the whole ETF, which is helping drag these guys up. But AMBA, you got some news coming out if you want to go look at where the news is. You have high volatility there. Let's see. So this is what we call the strat. 2, 1. What's the next 2? What's that going to do? That would be how you'd want to play that. And we're just going to watch it for fun. And we'd say in 20 seconds, this is momentum hammer. So it's up 12%, and then it goes 2. So does it go 2-2 reversal? Or does it go 2-2 continuation with a signal? Let's see. And if we look at SPX, you can see how they broke through resistance here and start drifting away up in here. They're already up 10 points just from breaking that, and they're up a lot higher from breaking the 5er. So tell them to go. AMBA, there's momentum hammer. You see it goes dink right up into the highs, then you want to see it keep going like this. And we call that measured move if that works. 85, it's up 2% in like half a second. And you see if it's anywhere back below this, we don't want it, 85.16. And it's for 26 seconds. But the way it works is when volatility increases, this 1 minute, that's 2% in 30 seconds, right? That's like a daily chart on most stocks, on a lot of stocks. So each minute's a day, which means every minute's a new day in this one. So we'll watch it. It should be nuts. Should be wild. Why are you not golfing? Because I want to see SPX do this. I still have I have some call options here, and I don't really like stepping off. I don't like stepping away from the computer and trying to execute on these because they're pricey contracts. It's a little bit more stressful on the phone. can see AMBA, look at that, 3%. Fun. You see how that momentum hammer goes right away, doesn't come back, up 5%, and then you just move your stops up. 1% winner, or maybe a huge winner if that news is really good. Who knows? I don't know what the news is. I don't have it set up for me here. Let's see. AMBA received takeover approach by what, Sony? Cool. Sony said to show interest. Analyst targets over $100. Yeah, that makes sense. So AMBA does the computer stuff that would live on robots. It's pretty interesting. So you can see they go inside. Let's see what happens from there. Momentum shooter. Does that tick down to force these guys to take profit? Or do you go double inside, which right now they are? I should be golfing, but they didn't want to stick it to them to end off the month. You can see SPY, they're pulling back in just a little bit. I think I'm just going to take my win and step away. Just because I'm kind of impatient. I want to get outside. You're right. I still got more than enough time to go golf too. So we will call that a morning. I was kind of sad. I tried to push the profits that we made, and I didn't make more, but I'm still up okay. I'm up, 7% on the day, so I'm not going to be sad about that. And overall, we've had a really good week this week. So I'm okay with that, but it is what it is. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. Look at AMBA, though. Inside, bam, that's the ad if you're going for it. And you can see this is the strat. Just find stuff that's moving, go trade it. But hopefully for SPX guys, hopefully you get that new high day. That's what you'd want to see. And as long as they're above all this stuff, you can try and just swing it and go for it. But that's going to be it for me today. I will see you guys. Green on the month, done for the day. Yeah, end off the good month. And we will see you guys next month. We have the monthly video coming out on the weekend. Hopefully I'll get it out early Sunday, if not Sunday night, so you can watch it Monday morning. But that's where we're going to discuss things that are setting up, kind of like that tech, which we talked about earlier in the day. We'll make sure that makes it on the vid for the 322, fun to say, fun to do. But that's where we're going to find those big monthly setups that we want to look for after the market puked this month. Anything that's not puking next month is what we want to buy. And anything that did not go down this month, like, if we go to Visa, that's stuff we want to go after next month as well. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys soon, and have a great rest of your weekend, everybody. Adios.